The tape, let's grind. Shut up. The tape. Let's grind. The tape. We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape, let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape, let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape, let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape,
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
the tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach, and the bench deep. Right. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Yep. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunkered down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Found guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby Smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't come to play, Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape.
We ain't come to play, Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play, Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't come to play, Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape.
The
Shut
tape.
up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape,
The
bro.
tape.
Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up. The tape.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guy Network on a fabulous Wednesday evening. Boys, it's been a tremendous amount of growth for us over the last several days. We've gone up over, I think, 4,000 followers on Twitter. We've seen 500 new people show up over here. Yesterday, we crossed over 30,000 subscribers. Today, already at 30.3. So how about a round of applause for the new folks? Welcome in. Appreciate you for being here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, review. We got a loaded one for you. As always, we got What If Wednesday. It is indeed upon us. Midseason awards getting dropped on tonight's show. We're going to map it out. This time, Heisman edition. Okay, that'll be fun today. Who's on upset alert? We'll tell you today. Hugh Freeze finally receiving a little bit of pushback from his own fan base. So we'll talk about that today. But I want to open with this. Sometimes, especially in the world of college football, especially in the world of reporting around college football, especially over the last, 5 years, that the world of college football constantly is having those Titanic plates shift on themselves. You know what I mean? They constantly banging into one another. And we're constantly having change in the world of college football, and it causes confusion. And I do think sometimes, like I said, we make things way too complicated, like today's news. Today's news of the fact that the National Letter of Intent is going to be removed by college football. All right, no more National Letter of Intent. What's it mean? Brooks, what's it mean? What's going on? I got 4 or 5 DMs today. Hey, what's this mean? I got tagged in all the news today. What's going on? It ain't much, to be honest with you. The National Letter of Intent was put into place back in 1964, boys. Did you know that? Nope. We've been signing National Letter of Intents for 60 years. It's been a while. What did it get put in place for? Well, the National Letter of Intent is your way as an athlete of declaring your commitment in exchange for tuition. That is a binding contract for 1 year. The moment you sign that National Letter of Intent, your communication with other schools and other schools' communications with you ceases to exist. Now, the National Letter of Intent took a massive hit this last year when the NCAA was like, oh, by the way, we're going to let you out of that. You know, we're just going to let you out of that. If your coach leaves, we're going to let you out of that National Letter of Intent. You can go wherever you want. It kind of doesn't mean much. Now, it's being removed. And why is it being removed? Well, nothing in that National Letter of Intent, nothing in that paperwork that you're signing, okay, that was written back in 1964, that was put into place in college football 60 some odd years ago, nothing in that document says anything about money. It says nothing at all about money. So, in a world of college football where we are on the precipice and the doorsteps of revenue sharing models, a National Letter of Intent doesn't mean anything. It's gone. It ceases to hold water. It doesn't hold any value in the new system that we're headed towards. So what was today's news of a National Letter of Intent being removed from the world of college football? It was a memo. It was a bolded letterhead, right, that said, hey, revenue sharing models are on their way. That's all there is. And now that there's no National Letter of Intent, it will just be replaced by a new piece of document that all of us as adults sign. Unless you're self-employed or unless you work for me, which is an employment agreement, an employment contract. That's all you're going to sign nowadays. When you go to National Signing Day and you sign your letter of intent, you will be signing your employment rights over. You will be signing your national or your name, image, and likeness over. You will be signing your, not freedom, you will be signing your employment over. You will be assigning your employment over to the institution or the football program that you will be committing to. You'll be signing an employment contract moving forward. You'll not be signing a National Letter of Intent. So there, nice and simple. Everybody saw the news today. Everybody freaked out. It ain't that difficult. This is just a sign that revenue sharing models are on their way. What's up, boys?
It still breaks my heart.
Still breaks your heart? Why?
Yeah,
It changes signing day a good bit.
You
Breaks
think?
my
The changes on this are that players can start signing the Wednesday after the last college football, after the last regular season game, and then that goes until the next Friday. So it's like a 4-day period now, or 3-day period, whereas, you had signing day in early periods, and that was kind of like the big day for everyone. So
This is just free agency.
pretty
Now,
much. It's pretty much, yeah.
It's when they first open free agency in the NFL. That's what this is.
Mm-hmm.
But and this occurs now though before the transfer portal opens up,
Which
as well.
they shortened that window.
Yeah.
They were going to have National Signing Day this class. It is still before. I think we have a traditional National Signing Day this year. This rule will come into effect in the future, I believe.
Okay, cool.
In 2025.
My first thing was, how is that going to affect the Super Show?
Oh, that's a good
You
point.
just have to do a recap, I guess. Like
Yeah.
the last day. Hey, here's who ended up joining the class at some point earlier this week.
That's a really good point. It's definitely going to impact our National Signing Day Super Show, which is one of our highest viewed and longest retention rate shows that we do. I think our retention rate numbers on that last year were over an hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah,
And it
so
went
we
like-
had an almost 4-hour long
Yeah.
live stream, and the average viewer held on for an hour and 15 minutes. It's pretty
During a
incredible.
work
Impressive.
During a work day. That's right.
crazy.
We were a 9 to 12:30 stream that day, and then we came back after that, turned the cameras right back on because
Yeah.
KJ Bolden flipped to Georgia. So it was a tremendously long day for us. But yeah, that's National Signing Day is going to change a little bit, but not drastically. Okay, I don't think it's going to be some major change to college football. Welcome in. We got a great show for you guys. Like I said, it is Wednesday, so we're going to be hitting that What If Wednesday. Midseason awards. I'm excited about this today. We're going to be handing those out. We're going to map it out Heisman edition this time. We do map it out with our predictions, kind of tell you how we think a game's going to go. We're going to tell you tonight how we think Heisman candidacies are going to go for each individual athlete that might be up for it. We might be getting a better play in the national hour. I don't know. We might mess around and find out. And Hugh Freeze finally getting some pushback from some of the comments that he has made this week during the presser availabilities. Welcome in. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and rate, review, and all that good stuff. Man, it's been a great week. How did you like the Texas film study this morning? Because it's not doing the numerous that it should be doing right about now.
That's okay. I mean, I enjoyed it. I love watching how a really good defense matches up against a really good offense, or even vice versa. So I thought it was really fun to see how Venables attacked them last year, maybe kind of getting an indicator of how they might attack them this year, and maybe some things that Sark might be keeping an eye on this year, or how Quinn Ewers might be approaching this game differently. Certainly some different personnel on both sides of the team, mostly Texas, though, not having A.D. Mitchell and Xavier Worthy. Those are two players that highly impact that offense, but still Steve Sarkisian calling shots.
It was interesting to me to see, in my opinion, how I felt like the offensive line has certainly progressed and taking massive leaps forward for this Texas unit, while what you're talking about, the surrounding parts in terms of weaponry, has certainly decreased. Isaiah Bonds played really well in the screen game in particularly so far. The ability to take it to the house the moment he touches it in the screen game. Say what you want about Xavier Worthy. I think Isaiah Bond is better with the ball in his hands behind the line of scrimmage than Isaiah Worthy. Would you agree? Or than Xavier Worthy. Would you agree?
Yeah,
I would say so. He's
but
probably a little
if
shifty.
I'm trying to take the top off, I'm going with Worthy.
For sure.
Right? So appreciate you guys that have tuned into that one. Make sure, if you haven't, that you go give it a shot, all right? There's a lot of learning to be done in that study. Those are two brilliant minds going at it. I'm so excited for that football game this weekend. I hope there's an opportunity to TiVo that and watch it on replay because we'll be on the field during Georgia's game.
I didn't watch the study. I haven't had time yet. Did you watch the year
Checks
before?
Huh?
What does that even mean?
Buddy, you don't watch film. It's okay.
I do watch the film.
Yeah.
How would I have the Diddy count every week?
That's right.
I got you.
I got
you.
me.
Got you moment.
Some folks in the chat think that I'm serious when I'm giving you guys a hard time.
I saw that comment.
Yeah, they were like, damn, Brooks is really tough on his employees. He must be hard to work for.
But no, the question I was getting at was I would be curious to see how different film from 2 years ago, because that was Venables' first year, to what it looked like last year to then compare it to this year. Because you'd have to imagine that these are two coaches that are not going to attack each other the same ways year in and year out. Like Sark and Venables seem both like very two guys that are willing to adapt on the blink of an eye.
I'm going to be honest, with as much disguising and as much multiplicity that Venables does, I wish I would have mentally thrown out that first year as a football coach defensively. They were horrible, and I criticized them for being like, dude, you're a defensive coach. What the hell is going on? The moment you walk in there, they should get better defensively, and they didn't. That's a concern. That was my take after year one. But football brain should have been like, dude, it's a complex defense. Give them some time. So in terms of your question of did you go back and look 2 weeks ago, by the way, we need to be prepared for availability report.
We are.
Okay. Hell yeah, boys.
Come on now.
Good job, boys. I'm not prepared to ad-lib for that 5 minutes that you guys are writing.
Well, the good news is this time Ole Miss is not in the mix, and they won't have 30. So I won't have 30 players to type in.
That's a good point right there. What were we talking about? Oh, the difference. I don't want to go back and look at 2022. I think they were such a different defense than even what they were in 2023 and certainly what they are in 2024 at Oklahoma. I think it's almost disingenuous to go back and look at that year one under Venables. They have so much better football players, too, defensively now. It's taken some while, especially on the lines of scrimmage. They have much better football players on the defensive line and linebacker core, even though Stutzman's the only real consistent.
Wasn't that game like 47-0?
Oh, it was a brutal blowout.
First year,
I think it was 41-0.
It's one of the few blowouts in this series. It's definitely an outlier.
Yeah, it was pretty gross. I remember that. I completely forgot about that game. I said that Oklahoma won 3 in a row. I completely forgot that.
Oh yeah, no, the audience did not let that go.
No, they didn't.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm glad they corrected me. So
I do love that we've gotten big enough to where we're getting corrected. That makes me feel better, because I can't trust myself to correct myself all the time, and I certainly can't trust you guys to correct me all the time. But I damn sure can rely on that chat.
Absolutely.
Them boys do not let anything slide.
Good.
So yeah, good on them. Let's do these midseason awards, guys. Actually, first and foremost, give a shout out to our friends over at Better, paper. Man. Hey, man, the paper's holding strong. The paper's holding strong. Are you looking for a new place to get college football player props this year? Better now offers those for you. Enter more than or less than key stats on college football players. You can now play in 23 states, including the fine state of Georgia. Better is matching first-time deposits up $250 if you use promo code Brooks or click the link in the description of this video today. Man, this is a tremendous time to be over on Better. I got to check my Better stash because I'm pretty sure we up big on Better. I think I'm 4-1 through 5 weeks of college football on prop plays. How about them?
Pretty good.
Boy, you might be able to pay a mortgage with that kind of win rate.
Oh, you think?
I mean, shit. If you put enough money on it, yeah. If I had some huevos rancheros, I'd be up big time. But instead, I'm only up $145 over there on my Better account.
In the green, though.
In the green. We are always in the green
That's all
over
you
there
wanna
on Better. It's a great time. Like I said, promo code Brooks. Head over there to Better. 23 states, including the fine state of Georgia. 100% deposit match up to $250. Appreciate those guys for supporting us. Appreciate you guys as audience members for supporting us as well. Let's hammer these midseason awards. Here's what we're doing, chat. I want y'all to help us out here as well. Our first award will be Best Player. Through 6 games of the college football, or 6 weeks of the college football season, who has been the best player in college football? Bless you.
Thank you.
By the way, we have made some adjustments to audio tonight, so we should be a little bit louder. I hope that's the case.
I think this is unanimous who the best player is. I think it is. I hope it is.
Michael Myers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is.
He was on my list. I had a second.
I got
one just
3
in
names,
case.
yeah, just in case.
Oh, I'd only put Ashton Jeanty. He's the only one worthy.
Ashton
I like
Jeanty is
that.
certainly available on this list. I also have Travis Hunter. What we've seen him do. I mean, I know the playing both ways things kind of not necessarily stick, but that upgrades his playing abilities a lot. But he makes plays on both sides of the football. He is one of the best players in the country.
I'm not backing off of Jayden Milroe terrifying me just because they lost a football game in which their defense gave up 40 points.
That's fine.
Okay. I still think Travis Hunter is an incredible football player. Ashton Jeanty is an incredible football player. I go to bed at night as a defensive coordinator having nightmares about Jayden Milroe.
Yeah.
So that's the way I feel, and that's the way I'm going to feel. The defensive performance doesn't change anything about that for me. So I still think he's the most difficult assignment in terms of coverage and defending in college football.
Yeah, and I mean, Vandy kind of proved if you're going to beat Alabama, it's not going to be because you're shutting down Alabama's offense. It's that you're going to score more points than them because you're going to hit your moments and you're going to hit those big plays that are necessary to beat Alabama.
And then you have to be opportunistic with turnovers. I mean, they had a pick 6 and they had a fumble in that game that turned into, I believe, a touchdown.
Swing plays, baby.
So stuff like that you have to do.
The answer is certainly Ashton Jeanty right now. He's doing absolutely crazy stuff, but I would rather go into a football game having to defend Ashton Jeanty than defending Jayden Milroe.
That's fair.
Still.
That's fair.
So
Who was your
that.
other one? You said you had 3.
Yeah, those were the 3. Ashton Jeanty, Travis Hunter, and Jayden Milroe. I think it's a pretty firm discussion right there. And then outside of that, I don't even know who a 4th suggestion would be. Pavia?
Come on.
Too much?
Too much.
He did
We're not
lose
even
to-
pronouncing that correct. I'm pretty sure it's Pavia.
Yeah,
He
everybody
did lose
says
to
it's
Georgia
Pavia.
State.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are the 3 names right now.
People are
Yeah,
saying
Brooks is just caping to the Alabama fans that have shown up. That's the whole reason I said the Jayden Milroe thing.
Is that what chat's saying?
No, I'm getting ahead of it. Getting ahead of
Getting
it.
ahead of the narrative.
Getting ahead of the narrative. I'm spinning before it needs to be spun.
That's fair.
All right,
What's the next award we're giving
best
out?
game. We're doing best game, chat. Let's go best game. What has it been this year? I think there are 2 suggestions here.
I put 3.
3.
I had 3 games.
Let's hear it.
I had LSU South Carolina as one.
Good one.
Okay.
I thought that was
really,
a really
good game.
really
You're right. I
good
missed
game.
that one.
17-0, come back down to the wire. Some really big turnovers in that football
Some
game.
really big explosives in that football
Yeah.
game as well.
Georgia Alabama was another one that I had.
It's up there.
I also had Colorado versus Baylor.
Yep.
Damn it.
That's the one I had.
That was the one I thought that was going to be under the radar.
Did you say Bama, Georgia?
I did say Bama.
Yeah, I
Georgia.
think those are the 3 suggestions.
And then I guess you could say Virginia Tech, Miami, but I don't think that
Nah.
game was at the level of these other 3.
Ooh, no. Chat's got the winner. Friday night smackdown between UNLV and the Cuse.
Syracuse on Friday.
Syracuse on
on
Friday?
Friday, the
Friday.
best
Best
game
game.
of the weekend.
All right, that's the winner. Best game, Syracuse on a Friday. Give me Fran Brown Fridays the rest of time.
Oh,
Huh?
okay.
It's out. All right, what's the news? Do we have any?
Let's
Any
see.
worth reporting?
Let's see.
Actually, I'll read it, and then I'll pay attention.
Okay.
All right, SEC injury report just came out, so let's take some
Smile
time.
Mondon is listed as out once again.
All right.
Nothing really different. Jordan Hall and Jared Wilson are questionable, and then your usual Tate and Roderick are out.
All right,
Mississippi State's got a good bit.
you're giving me Georgia versus Mississippi State. I'm not going to lie to you. The people listening to this today don't really care about that, except for the Georgia fans listening. So let's talk about important football games. Kendrick Law questionable in that South Carolina matchup. It looks like everyone that's meaningful apart from – I don't see any starters on that South Carolina list that's out from what I can tell. So that's okay. Texas, Oklahoma. C.J. Baxter obviously out. Christian Clark, Velton Garner. Quinn Ewers is probable in that football game, so he's expected to start. Let's see here. They have Deion Burks listed as questionable and Caden McIntyre, their tight end, listed as questionable, one of their tight ends. Nick Anderson will be out in that football game, their big wide receiver at Oklahoma. So they're down some weapons. Now, this Tennessee bunch is banged up at home against Florida. It looks like they have Dante Thornton being questionable, Squirrel White probable, Brew McCoy probable. I wonder if Brew McCoy is still going to be playing minus 3 fingers. That'll be, kind of important considering he plays wide receiver. Ole Miss, LSU. Ole Miss still messing with the injury report. They got 500 people on this list. I don't feel like going through it. The important ones are the guys that are out, and I don't see a starter. Is Logan Diggs their starting running back? He's on the 2 deep. Either way, he's out. Harold Perkins out for the season, as most know. John Emery, a running back, out for the season, as most know, from LSU as well. Looks like the running backs are going to play. C.J. Daniels is questionable. Chris Hilton, the wide receiver, is questionable. All right. That is the injury report for today.
Any surprises on there to you, or like kind of out of left fields? I know that last week, the Smile Mana announcement kind of caught people by surprise. I was wondering if you have one of those this year.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know the rest of these rosters well enough to know, like, having paid attention, like who limped out last week, that kind of thing. The Smile Mondon one caught us off by surprise because we all saw him playing and healthy against Alabama, and then he popped up on the injury report on a Wednesday after having not heard anything during the week. So, no, I don't see anything on here. I think the most healthy team in the SEC right now is Alabama.
Yeah, it's definitely Alabama.
It's by far Alabama. Alabama's the only team on here with fewer than like 6 names, and they have 3. So, yeah, Alabama pretty healthy, not playing great defensive football right about now. All right, that's enough of the injury reports.
Who's next on the awards?
We have best game. We already did it, so let's go to best win. Who's got the best win on the season? I have 2 nominees here, boys. I'm going to start. I've got Vandy over Alabama as a big, big win. Obviously, that is a massive one for not only the football program, but college football as a whole. That was the massive storyline this week. I think the most convincing and most solid win so far through the season against a top 10 opponent is Texas on the road against Michigan.
Yes. Let me look at mine.
And, Bama fans are going to be like, what about that Bama win over Georgia? I wouldn't say that was very convincing.
No, I specifically left this off now because of the last 2 quarters that you put on. Everyone's kind of like, Georgia got some steam ahead. What you followed into the game, the 4 quarters you played against Vandy, that was bad. People look at that game differently now, like, something happened at halftime of that Georgia game where Alabama's gone downhill for 6 quarters ever since. So you can't look at that win much the same now. Now, the record is still very strong for that. It's still a great win. It's probably one of the better wins of the season. It's a true top 5 team, unlike Michigan. But it lost a lot of its shine with what you did in Vandy the next week.
I was asked about Trey Harris. He's listed as questionable on the injury report. Big win. Arkansas over Tennessee could be in this mix.
Underrated.
As well.
Man. I feel like that one's not as much talked about, especially with Vanderbilt, what they did last week.
Yeah, that's right. That kind of got overshadowed within the same week. When Vandy pulls off something that ain't happened in 40 years, that's pretty big. It seems like every other time that Tennessee goes to Arkansas, something bad happens. I saw a video of 07, 12, 20, and then 24, something like that. I saw Arkansas's football social media team released a video of it, and I thought it was kind of funny. So that's happened multiple times in their prior history. Chat's pushing back on the Texas selection here for me, and I understand that, right? Michigan doesn't seem like a very good football team, and they definitely aren't, right? They have 2 losses on the year and just got smacked by Washington by 10 in a football game that they folded in the second half. But I can't find apart from the Bama win, I understand, but I can't find a guaranteed obvious this is the best one other than Vandy.
Well, that's the thing. There haven't really been a lot of games this year where it's, this is a really solid top 15 win. Like if you beat a team in the top 10, they typically tumble out afterwards. I mean, you could say Georgia's win over Clemson's up here now because what Clemson's done in the coming weeks, but Georgia Tech over Florida State. I mean, we all know Florida State's an absolute dumpster fire. Now, that was a really good win when it first happened. So things like that where you beat a team and it seems to cause them to tumble.
Michigan is now North version of Iowa.
Dang.
How far is Michigan? How far north of Iowa is Michigan? I'm geographically challenged.
It's like at an angle.
See, if I were really, really smart about how dumb I am, I would have said I'm geologically challenged. Just to hammer home that Titanic plate joke that we hit at the top of the show. I guess 400 miles. That's what the chat says. I don't believe that.
That checks out, honestly.
I know, Jonathan, you're busy. Real quick, who's your best win?
Yeah, I gave it to Texas against Michigan. I think that's the most convincing win. I think that's the best the team has looked against a comparable top 25 opponent so far this year. Texas played 4 quarters of clean football, and from jump, they dominated Michigan. That's just the way I feel about this one right now.
It's a good suggestion from the chat. A&M beating the shit out of Missouri is a big win.
That's a very good win.
Yeah.
That's a good shout.
That might honestly be one of the. Then that's the thing.
Or Northern Illinois at Notre Dame.
Another
But
good
they've
one.
kind of pissed down their legs.
Yeah, they'd
since.
lost 2 games.
Yeah.
It's a good win still. I mean, that win
Tremendous
is
win.
historic. Doing this kind of makes me realize, this segment at least, that there isn't a marquee key win for any team right now. Now you'd have to imagine it comes throughout the season. Ohio State's about to play Oregon, Georgia's going to play Texas, Alabama's going to play Tennessee. It's still there, but we're halfway through the season now, and there hasn't been really a marquee win for any team that you could say, oh, they're a playoff team because they have this win, because they show that they can beat a team like this.
Yeah, maybe not a playoff team. I mean, Vanderbilt, that's marquee win of the century, of like your entire program's history ever. Like
Absolutely.
nothing will ever get better
Stamped.
than that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I heard a take that was bigger than their national championship in baseball.
Wow.
It might be.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be.
You think so? What draws more people and more dollars to Vanderbilt? A national championship in baseball or one win over Alabama at home?
Well,
I don't know,
people
it
didn't
seems like
walk.
it certainly brought in more money to Pavia's pockets.
Yeah.
That
People
dude
didn't-
has capitalized off of that.
What's going on?
He started floating out every single brand that he would want to do an NIL deal. He was like, here are my top 5 favorite brands.
But ain't nobody showed up with the bag yet.
I think
have
he's
they?
already doing one. Or no, that was Michael Hawkins with Oklahoma. But
Okay.
we might see some stuff happen for him.
Look, all I'm going to say is people didn't walk 3 miles to the Cumberland River after Vanderbilt won a national title in baseball.
Very true.
I didn't even know that was the Cumberland River. This is news to me. We walked over that multiple times when we were
did.
at SEC Media Days. Nice river.
Very nice.
Nice river. Good flow.
Tried to ride a bird over it. Didn't go so well.
Yeah, no. The birds over bridges that have water underneath them. Apparently, there's a no-no there.
Learn the hard way.
It worked for me.
I guess folks be throwing scooters up off the bridge or something.
I'm sure it's also a liability. Like if someone's shithoused on a scooter and you
I think
ride
he
off
just
the
got
bridge.
a bad scoot.
Oh, man.
Well, mine didn't work either.
Mine did. I was cruising.
Scooting. It's a good opportunity there.
scoot.
You missed it. All right, biggest surprise. What's it been so far this year?
I feel like this is the one where we're going to get a lot of varying answers. And I'll be the first to say it. I thought Sam Pittman was kind of toast this year. Arkansas has been not only a pleasant surprise, but a really, really good, legit surprise. Like, hey, this is a solid SEC team now. They're not gonna shatter the world. They might not be a top 25 team at the end of the year, but I wouldn't want to play Arkansas if they're on my schedule.
My surprise was not just Sam Pittman, but the amount of head coaches this year that we walked into the season thinking that you were probably a dead man walking that have now saved their job, it feels like. Sam Pittman being one of these, Shane Beamer. There's still some feelings out there now that you only put up 3 points against. So I think that there's been some coaches that have revived themselves, and people have a lot more faith in. Venables has kind of done this, I think, as well. There's a lot more belief in him.
A lot more belief in Bobby Petrino.
He's back.
Think old Bobby P going to get another opportunity at a head coaching job?
I saw an Arkansas fan at the Tennessee,
Come on now.
when they panned to the crowd at the Tennessee game, someone had the damn Razorback riding a motorcycle on their
Hell
T-shirt.
yeah, he did. Hell yeah, he
That's
did.
passion.
Did it have a neck brace?
It did.
Hell
It had a
yes.
neck brace.
I
Hell
feel like that's a
yes.
shirt you would own.
I want to own that shirt.
I
would wear that shirt. If someone bought that Senate, I would wear it for a whole week.
Yeah.
A
I've got
whole
like
week.
A whole week.
Sleep
got
in
a
it
hand-
too?
No. Just on show. I mean, come on. Body odor. Whoa. Can't be doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, on show, I would wear that for an entire week.
I've got a handful of shirts I just couldn't wear on air, but
That checks out.
they're fun.
Arkansas, massive surprise.
Yes.
I think people have been surprised by the parity in college football this year already through 6 weeks. Just the amount of upsets that we've seen, particularly this past weekend. I don't think it took anybody by surprise that's been paying attention to how roster allocation has worked over the last 2 years. Like we talked about last night, the talent gap between 1 and 65 has really, really shrunk because teams 20 through 65 can raid teams 1 through 19s too deep, right? And we're seeing that all throughout college football, and it's really increased the amount of parity. I know we have disappointment coming up, and I have another team that I'm going to put into this. But, guys, we are like 4 months removed from Hugh Freeze standing on the next round's set at a golf charity tournament, and a really, really smart co-host from the Next Round Live looking at Hugh Freeze in the face and going, Coach, I got y'all winning 10 games this year.
Ooh.
Now, to Hugh's credit, I ain't never seen a coach throw water on team expectations so fast. He was like, hey, whoa. 10? We're young. We're young. We're playing lots of freshmen. We're going to be bad. Please. Whoa. Don't do that. I don't think he even thought they were going to be 2-4 bad.
Yeah,
Staring down 2-6
disgusting,
or 2-5.
Disgusting bad.
Yeah. Awful.
It's quarterback play, man. You got to get better playmakers.
Just quarterback play.
Just him.
We're going to cook him a little bit more later.
Yeah, that's.
We're going to unthaw him.
Unthaw him. Defrost.
Yeah, we're going to hit him on the defrost.
Because his last name is Freeze.
Yeah.
Biggest disappointment?
I got one more surprise. No, I got it. I got one more surprise, though. I think people, and this was after week 1, I think people have been very surprised by Clemson's offensive output. If we all kind of came into the season thinking, Dabo doesn't really like transfer portals guys. He drags his feet on that. His offensive philosophy is outdated if he doesn't have elite quarterback play. And that Georgia game really hit that home. 3 points was disgusting. Turns out Georgia has a very good defense. But since then, Clemson's been solid on offense, and I think that's kind of surprised people, including me. They've played better than I thought they would. I still don't think they're a great offense, but they've been a lot better than expected.
I don't think that it's a holistic disappointment from all of college football, but I know that these fans, and I think that people should be disappointed in this. Oklahoma State has been very disappointing this year. Ollie Gordon has been very disappointing this year. We went into the season saying Utah, Oklahoma State, those two teams feel like the two teams that might win the conference championship this year. And those are the only two teams that we're kind of throwing out there. Neither of those two teams are leading the conference right now, and Ollie Gordon really hasn't been able to get it going. Oklahoma State hasn't been able to really get it going. So I think that they've been a disappointment.
Florida State's big hot pile of garbage, huh?
Ooh, disappointment's an understatement.
Yeah, they don't even qualify.
No, they're not on this.
They're almost just like pushed out of college football right now.
Yeah, no one's talking
Nobody
about it
talks
anymore.
about
They
them.
spent the first 3 weeks laughing at him, and it's like he's getting to suck under the radar. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
What?
Done.
I mean,
the ACC as a whole has been a disappointment, honestly. Like we talked about, maybe Clemson, Florida State coming off that year. That's obviously didn't happen. But even the teams that, could have been, hey, these guys might be interesting, the North Carolinas of the world, the Virginia Techs, they've all been bad.
yep. I think I've been disappointed in this redshirt phenomenon. I don't like this.
What
The
do you
fact that that's fine, Coach. I'm just gonna sit out.
I'm
Appreciate
shutting it down.
I actually had a moment of respect for Feet for Free Beamer. Did you see the news today that a player came into his office and requested a red shirt, and he was like, "Well, you can get the cup off my roster."
Cool.
Send him home.
Wow.
Beamer
Said,
took
you
another.
can get up out of here.
He
If
took
you want
a-
a red shirt, you can get the hell up out of here.
He took another dub in the post game presser when they were asking about Ole Miss players going down for injuries.
Yeah.
Have you seen how he answered that question?
Uh-uh.
I thought he answered it very well. He basically said, well, first off, I hope everyone's okay, yada, yada, yada. I do think it's funny that certain players go. I'd have to paraphrase. It's been 3 days since I saw it.
Yeah.
But I was very impressed with that answer he gave.
Ole Miss has very select players that do this.
Yes.
They have a certain defensive tackle that's job is to do this. They have a certain offensive player whose job is to do this. How much of this, though, is you think Lane Kiffin being Lane Kiffin and just being a pissant? No team has had this or publicly complained about this more than Lane Kiffin, and all of a sudden this year no one's doing it more than Lane Kiffin. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I think this is Lane Kiffin's way of saying, all right, if no one's going to do anything, I'm going to expose this rule and abuse the hell out of it till you
I'm
do
going to take a
something.
shit midfield. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make y'all change this to where we have to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
I bet you that's probably why he's playing games in the injury report too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just throw a bunch of names on there like, oh, well, he was on the injury report earlier this week. Even though he's playing, he's been dealing with something. So just kind of lingered up on him again.
Most improved player this year. Who
I
is
still
it?
have a couple of disappointments.
Oh, yeah. Come on. I got a
think-
couple more too, my
I
bad.
came into the season thinking that UCF with KJ
Dude, same
Jefferson
note.
and
Oh,
Same note.
they've been
big
bad.
disappointment.
Yeah,
I mean,
man,
like,
don't-
is the Gus bust coming to a halt in UCF?
Shit, I guess, man. If it's out on this one, and the sad thing about Gus is, like, I don't think he can go do television.
No,
I don't
he's
think his personality.
no.
You know,
But
so this
he
is
got
probably
enough from
it.
the Auburn buyout, and he'll probably get
Oh
a
no,
nice-
it ain't. I don't feel bad for the
Yeah.
man. You know, I
Yeah.
just feel bad for the man.
right.
I'm envious of his position Give me 30 mils, sit on my ass.
The disappointing about UCF this year is I don't think anybody expected them to be great. I don't think anybody was expecting like a 10-win season from them or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the whole opinion around them was this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun offense. Like if this is a game that's on at 10:30 at night, nothing else is on, UCF might be a good watch to close your day because at the very least, KJ Jefferson and a Gus Malzahn offense is going to put up some numbers. It just hasn't been the case, and the whole team holistically has been really bad.
I think there's just been some deterioration in KJ Jefferson as a football player.
Yeah.
And I don't think – I always applied this to high school football players where if you don't get better, I get worried. KJ had that great year in 2022 and then never got better.
No.
I should have – and I think when they get to college, we blame this on, oh, he must be banged up. Oh, he must have been hurt all year last year. And that was some of the inklings that came out. And Gus, when he first landed KJ – this is the first thing he did. No different than what Shane Beamer did with Rocket Sanders, where he was like, hey, the world doesn't know how hurt this guy was. By the way, Georgia did it to us with Jurasic. The world doesn't know how banged up this guy was in 2023. Go back and watch the 2022 tape. Coach, that was 18 months ago. That was 24 months ago now. This is a completely different football player, so I think we failed to remember that one. Also, yeah, like KJ Jefferson looks like he a good 260 right now.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I mean, there
260.
was kind of signs of this at Arkansas, too, of like, this doesn't look like the same player he was 2 years ago.
Not the twitch. Just looks like Big Ben when Big Ben got done, you know?
Dang.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Is it a lie?
I didn't say it was him. I didn't say it was me. I just said it's tough.
Hell yeah.
Do you have any more disappointments?
The Big 12 as a whole.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and
Big 12
What
as
do
a
you
whole.
mean? We still got two teams right in the thick of it.
no.
Oh, you sleeping. You sleeping on them.
No. I have a take on them.
Good.
Go ahead, say it.
BYU,
Oh, I ain't sleeping on the Cougs. Would never. I'm sleeping on the other one you're about to mention.
Iowa State.
Get the fuck up out of here.
Ooh.
Iowa State. Here we go. You ready for this one?
Whoa.
Iowa
You got a
State.
rant.
Is Iowa State the most
mid-season awards.
11th ranked undefeated team in the history of undefeated mid teams? Probably. Check this out. Wins over North Dakota. Not North Dakota State, North Dakota, 21-3. They beat Iowa by a slobbering 1 point. They beat Arkansas State 52-7. Congrats. They beat
Jones.
Houston 20-0. Real domination. They beat Baylor 43-12. 11th ranked team that hasn't played a ranked opponent. They have one ranked opponent all year, and it's Utah.
That's that Big 12 schedule for you, baby. That's
Iowa State going to walk to a 10-2 record, and everyone's going to think they're good, and they're bad.
I mean, that's kind of how we thought about
Yeah.
any Big 12 team that was going to win this conference.
Yeah, I mean,
they fit the bill.
Okay.
They fit the bill. This is what a Big 12 champion is supposed to look like.
My mid-season award
Plus-
goes to Iowa State.
There was no mention of what's going on in that program right now to make sure that it stays this way. You didn't even mention them drinking the PJ Fleck special juice.
That was Minnesota.
Oh, You're right. You're right. I just went
That's
off
why
the
it's
rails.
the PJ Fleck special juice.
You're right.
We didn't even talk about that.
You know, kind of. Yeah.
You know, that guy definitely runs a cult, right?
He scares me. I don't want to talk about
He
it.
terrifies me.
I don't want to say anything bad about PJ Fleck. I don't feel comfortable insulting him on live on it.
All right, so I'm going to do it. PJ Fleck,
I have
for
no
those who don't
association.
know. PJ Fleck, for those who don't know. PJ Fleck has an assistant that walks around with him, hands him his little phone, hands him his water whenever he needs it, and all PJ does is stick his hand out and they give it to him. So that's weird thing number one. Weird thing number two, PJ Fleck gives all of his players a 3-inch ring binder, all right, with all his PJ Fleckisms, which are all just stolen valor from other football coaches, like, all that's all on my board. But it's like a whole 3 inches of, like, binders, and he makes his players memorize it. He makes his freshmen carry around the binder. That's weird thing number two. Weird thing number three, whenever PJ Fleck walks into the room, his players have to give him a standing ovation. All right, that's weird thing number three. Weird thing number four, if PJ Fleck doesn't like the standing ovation, he walks out of the room, walks back into the room, makes them readdress him. Weird thing PJ Fleck number five, PJ Fleck makes players say, "I'm elite, coach," when he walks by them and asks how they're doing. If he says, "How are you doing?" and his team or his player says, "I'm great, coach," he stops, doesn't say anything to them, readdresses the question, "How you doing?" and asks that question over and over again until the player tells them, "I'm elite, coach." Weird thing that PJ Fleck does that is very cultish, number 6, and this is straight out of the Jim Jones playbook, all right? He made him drink a special elixir sauce to give him confidence, and all it was Sprite. Now here's how this ends, and I don't want to make any false allegations, but would I put it past PJ Fleck to full on go Jim Jones at the end of this, like a 4-8 season, and he walks in, hey, confidence juice, here it is, boys. We need to drink this capsule, and then they drink the capsule. Everybody ceases to exist.
It wasn't even confidence juice. It was to make sure that his team didn't get complacent after winning this past weekend. After beating USC, he made his team drink. Let me go find it. What exactly it was called, because I got a good chuckle out of this. I thought it was funny. Let's see.
Up shell casing there.
PJ Fleck made Minnesota players drink an antidote of confidence capsule, which contained of Sprite after losing to Michigan. Saturday, the Gophers upset USC.
The funniest thing about all that is that you can give someone a random beverage and pass off as a potion, and it's Sprite. You know it was McDonald's Sprite.
Oh, that shit was hitting.
Oh, I'd be a fan of that.
McDonald's Sprite. Imagine getting a cup and you don't know what it is, and it turns out to be McDonald's Sprite. I would think that's a potion.
Bro, I could just imagine being a 20-year-old kid in that meeting room. Coach walks in with the most serious look on his face and makes me drink Sprite and tell me that I'm now confident.
You are good.
What?
You're a good player now.
What? Crazy work. Where were we at on our midseason?
I think
We're down to most improved now.
I've got one more disappointment for you.
Come on.
And I'll speak for you and me, Jay Will. The Kansas Jayhawks broke my heart.
Nope, I'm not associated
severely
with that.
disappointed.
That's
No,
on you, bro.
we both came into the season
Don't know
big
what you're talking
Jayhawks
about.
fans, and they let us down severely. So the Kansas Jayhawks are on the
No
top
letdown
of the
for me.
disappointment list.
I said it 2 weeks
You were
in.
very disappointed at the start of the season.
I was, but I don't associate myself with the Jayhawks of Kansas anymore.
Mm.
They don't get to be attached
Damn
to me
shame.
right now.
I was ready to buy a Rock Chalk sweatshirt and everything.
Embarrassing.
Man, if that had hit, though.
Couldn't be me. Most improved player. Does Connor Weigman win this within season?
With one game?
One game.
One game, he's most
He
improved.
went from we need to sit this guy to the coach standing up attacking social media trolls. Like that, one game, most improved.
He had a great performance. Had a really good performance. Can you do it through the rest of the season? I mean, you saw on the field against Missouri why they started him. You said,
I have an actual answer for this, but I just thought, Connor Weigman in season, our narrative around Weigman has changed with one
For
football
sure.
game.
For
Because
sure.
he showed in that one game what he showed in the first 2 or 3 starts last year before he got hurt, in my opinion.
Yeah, but you also have to, at this point, consistently do it, because if you come out and lay an egg next week, or you look very pedestrian like you did against Notre Dame, it goes right back to, whatever he did against Missouri was a fluke. So I say you need about 2 or 3 more of these games for me to say, yeah, he is very much improved.
Fair. That's why it came on the notes with a question mark. I think the answer here, though, is Cam Ward. Cam Ward was really good at Wazoo. He's playing out of his mind right now in Miami.
He's definitely an improved player, and I didn't have him on this list just because, honestly, I didn't pay that much attention to him while he was at Wazoo. I knew he was a very talented player. I'd seen some of his highlight plays, but overall I hadn't watched him. I've watched more Cam Ward than I've watched this season. It's fair to say he's definitely a different player. He looks more confident in the pocket. He looks like he's playing on time better. There's still some things I have questions about, but he's definitely light years ahead of where he was last year from what I saw.
I went with a different ACC quarterback than you. I went with Cade Klubnik.
It's a good one.
I think Cade Klubnik has kind of blossomed into this quarterback that people thought he might be last year, but this season he's playing really good football. Clemson's offense overall is playing really good football. So I think that he's been improved quite a bit.
I'll also throw in
You gonna call cap on me?
I'm calling quality opponent cap. That's all I'm looking at. I mean, they played the best defense on paper that they've played in the last 4 weeks, 4 weeks since they've gone on this quote tear, is Florida State.
Yeah, I mean,
guys, this ain't Murderer's Row.
No.
App State, NC State, Stanford, buddy. I hope we're talking about how good you're playing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, but you're doing what you're supposed to be doing there,
And
you
he's going to continue to do it the rest of the year.
Yeah, and you
This
probably
sch-
couldn't
oh my
say
God,
that.
this schedule. Wake Forest, Virginia, Louisville, Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, the Citadel, South Carolina. I'm just taking a stab at the ACC, but, man, no Miami on that slate, shitty Florida State on that slate. Like, buddy, y'all better go 11-1.
Better.
So yeah, I mean, he's played well though the last couple of weeks. I will give him credit for that.
I'll stick in the ACC.
Bro, you keep calling me in the worst times. I'm literally live on air. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Classic. And a phone call I need to take. Every time he calls, I need to pick it up. So, unfortunate. Go ahead.
I was done with mine. I think
Sorry.
Christian was going.
I'll stick in the ACC with quarterbacks. I think Malik Murphy. He didn't play much last year at Texas, but he has improved a ton from what he's seen. He's been really solid for Duke and helped him win a couple of games. So I think that's a major improvement for him.
Brody called me yesterday in the middle of Kirby's press conference and then dials me today in the midst of a live stream.
Am I allowed to ask who it was?
Can't miss it. You can after the show.
All right, well, that's
Not player. Well, I can kind of tell you. Not player related, but or not football staffer related. Player related on the other side. So there we go. Bless you.
you took it away. It's fine.
Damn, I'm sorry I did that.
No, it's
That's
fine.
a horrible feeling.
I'm sorry.
No,
I
I
did
like
that.
it when you avoid a sneeze.
Damn.
Yeah, no.
Kyle McCord, chat, giving a shout out to
I
Kyle
had
McCord.
Kyle McCord on my list.
Not a boy.
I almost put him on my list as well.
Now, there have been a couple of times throughout the season where you've seen the Honda McCord tweets come up, especially last week in that UNLV game. He did look kind of questionable at times, but he's got that Syracuse program going in the right direction. I think he was exactly what they needed, so good for him. I think he's found a home there.
I'm just glad Syracuse is a fun football team because I think Syracuse, outside of what Cam Ward is doing at Miami, but now that's even kind of been tarnished a little bit with the last couple of wins. But
Yuck.
Syracuse is an ACC team that you can watch it and enjoy the product and just kind of because they're going to give up points, they're going to score points, and it's just they're just a fun football team to watch in my
They're
opinion.
going to fight.
Yeah.
They're going to scrap and crawl. Back dark alley football team as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to play him on a Friday, I'll tell you that much.
Don't want to play them on a Friday. All right. Those are our midseason awards. Do we have anything else?
I've got a couple more most improved
Come on.
Jayden Milroe and Ashton Jeanty. I mean, these guys, Ashton Jeanty was a very solid running back last year. He wasn't a national commodity. He wasn't a Heisman front runner last year. That's an improvement
People just didn't
say
know.
alone. That's fine, but I mean, he wasn't putting up these numbers like he was last year either.
Speaking of putting up numbers, 1.5 million views. 1.5 million views. And it is interesting. We always talk about getting a meter or like a meter and a gauge of what a fan base feels like or what a fan base thinks the expectations are for their football program. Now, granted, I haven't been doing this a long time. I haven't. But the propensity for Alabama fans to tag their defensive coordinator on social media and tell him he sucks ass, I've never seen it like this. I've called out a lot of football coaches. I have. When something's wrong, I like to point it out, and I like to say, hey, this is wrong. All right, this is going on. Ain't nobody tagging Hugh Freeze. Ain't nobody tagging Hugh Freeze in tweets of mine. Kane Womack got tagged 1,000 times in those quote tweets of your shit, your ass, get it picked up, we're going to fire you, wear a collared shirt. I mean, just all over.
That was the craziest thing I think out of all of that was them talking about, hey, you need to be wearing collared shirts. What do you think this is? And then the whole coaching staff showing up in collared shirts at their press conferences.
I mean, Alabama fans are up there on some of the crazy.
Collared shirts.
It's also why that football program is what it is, because they have fans that care that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's impossible to be bad at Alabama. They won't let you. You're going to get the hell up out of there.
I mean, the entire state revolves around how well that football team plays.
They have nothing else.
Like, there's no pro teams there. There's not really, like, when's the last time you saw, like, a major concert tour go to Alabama? Like, stuff like that. Like, it is Alabama football.
Wait, didn't they have a whole band?
Yeah, but I mean, yes.
Yeah, but Alabama fans, but man, they are passionate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they showed up in droves. Of those 3,000 new followers, I bet 2,200 of them are Bama fans.
Good.
So,
expand the brand.
What's up, guys? Appreciate you guys for being here. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Let's map it out. Heisman edition. Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
All right, so we got how many names? Travis Hunter, Ashton Jeanty, Carson Beck, Jayden Milroe, Cam Ward. Those are the names that we are going to map it out to a Heisman. Homer getting Carson Beck in there because let's start with him. I don't think this is possible.
You don't?
I don't think it's possible.
It's absolutely possible.
I don't. This is a stat award, and he is so far behind on stats that it's not even close.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. Look, dude, right now he is on pace for 3,700 yards.
Okay.
A quarterback hasn't won the Heisman with fewer than 3,700 yards since 2006. Troy Smith. 2006. You're going back 18 years.
Yeah, but you're also accounting into he had a really, really poor showing against Kentucky. He hasn't lit it up in games like.
This is averaging 278. He averaged 295 last year at his peak.
That's fine. He'll trust me. If you put up big performances against Tennessee, Texas, or Ole Miss, if you put big performances in 2 of those 3 games, you're fine. And by the way, if Boise State, Colorado, they're going to lose more games. Those are the 2 guys ahead right now as far as finalists go. They are going to lose more football games. Boise State might not. You'd have to imagine Colorado's going to lose again. You will play more top 10 teams. You will be in front of national stages. If he has another 350-yard game like he did against Alabama and you win that game,
Look,
if you win against Alabama, you're the number 1 contender
this
now.
But it's not just about being the best player on the best team anymore. This is an award that is given to somebody who is being historical in numbers. Or else Carson's ass would have been sitting in New York last year.
Yeah, but you also had who was the finalist last year? Jayden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and who else?
I can't remember.
I can't either.
Either way.
I'm saying if you have
it's not even just him. The whole football team offensively would have to turn into 2019 LSU.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes, it would.
It would have to hit on a couple more explosive passes that are dropped or bust on offense. We've talked about it the entire time. The offense is this close to breaking it loose numerous times a game. They've left multiple points on the board every game they've played in. You stop doing that, and you have good performances against 2 top 10 opponents, 1 on the road, by the way.
If they started executing at 100% rate, they would turn into 2019 LSU.
Okay, that's fine. Not even 100%.
I just think it's past. What's your opinion on this? Be a tiebreaker here.
I don't
Is
think
it possible?
I mean, I think it's certainly possible, but it would have to be for the next 7 games, 8 games, or whatever it is. Carson Beck is going to have to play the best football of his life for every single quarter. I mean, it's going to have to be 400 yards, 350 yards, 400 yards, 350 yards, like those type of performances consistently.
It's at the quarterback position, the bar has been like 4,800 yards for the last 10 years at this spot. Kirby, look it up. Like since Baker Mayfield, it's been like 4,700 yards, 4,800 yards.
You
got to
up
throw
stupid
for a
numbers.
shitload and almost 50 total touchdowns. Like you got to put up astronomical numbers to win this award at the quarterback position. I think it's bypassed Carson this year. That's just my opinion. What did you find? Did you look it up?
I've looked up 1 player, but I can find more if you want.
No, it's all good. I looked it up today. So, when I did the notes on this, it's just it is a stats award. It has become a stats award, and yes, you have to be on a really good team. You have to win at least 8 or 9 football games. That is a fact. But it's a stats award. You got to be out here like resetting numbers.
It's not a stats award. Stetson Bennett got there in 2022
and finished a very distant third. A very distant third.
He finished 4th, didn't he?
4th.
Yeah, but I'm saying he can still win the Heisman. Do I think he will? Probably not. It is more than possible to still win it. The Heisman race is extremely wide open right now. There is not a front runner.
No. I'm in agreement with you there. All right, so Joe Burrow, 5,000 yards. Kyler Murray, 4,900. Lamar Jackson, 4,900. Baker Mayfield, 4,650. Robert Griffin III, 4,600 with another 500 rushing. Johnny Manziel, 4,600 with another 1,200 rushing. You see what I'm saying? Like you got to be out here putting them up. Being on pace for 3,600 yards. He's on pace right now for 3,607. 3,614. He's on pace for 3,600 yards. It's not enough. It's not enough. In my opinion. And we got 6 games left in the regular season plus an SEC championship. Now, to your point, if he puts up 400 yards against Texas Ole Miss and in an SEC championship game, go ahead and give it to him. But, whew, that's a lot. But that's what it's to take. And we're here to map it out.
Yeah.
So that's the map. That's the path you got to go down on.
The path I have is you have to play well, like 400 yards well in 2 of the 3 games, Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee. We talked about that. You have to win out the regular season and win the SEC championship. You can't be a 2-loss team. You're out of that. And then you need Jayden Milroe or Cam Ward to lose again. All
right, we've dragged our feet on that too much. Travis Hunter, what's it going to take? For me, can they get to 8 or 9 wins? I think the individual excellence is already there.
Yep.
He's on pace for 1,200 yards, receiving 14-plus touchdowns, while being a top 3 corner in college football, top 2, him and Will Johnson.
Yeah.
Find me a third. Okay. So those 2 guys, the wins total is what we're looking at. Yep. So here's the question. Do they win 4 of these games, 5 of these games? K-State, at Arizona, Cincy, Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State. I think they got 4 there. They should. I think they can get Cincy, Texas Tech, Kansas, and Oklahoma State.
Texas Tech 5-1.
I know. That's tough. If it's 75, you're out.
Yep.
You got to get to 8-4. Got to get to 8-4 here for that to happen. We all got the same path there?
Yeah, I also
Absolutely.
have you need Milroe, Beck, and Ward to lose one more time.
All right. Ashton Jeanty, if you're going to win the Heisman, you need to go into your coach's office and say, Coach, I need to rock. All right, I'm on pace right now for 2,400 yards. 2,400 yards, and your ass is giving me 19 attempts a game. Do you want to keep your job, Coach? You know what I mean? Like, we could be out here balling. We could be out here not worrying about it. We could be Oregon. I just need 50 touches. That's it. Just give it to me, baby. Feed me. Feed me. That's the pace, or that's the way here. And they also need tight football games. They can't be out here beating the shit out of teams and not having a reason to give Jeanty the totes. They need 6 really, really tight football games where they're forced to give Ashton Jeanty the ball, no blowouts. And I need Boise State at San Jose State to be an absolute war daddy of a football game for the Mountain West Conference Championship. Whole nation tuned in to watch Ashton Jeanty beat new buddy from San Jose State's brains in.
You see, I want to push back on that because I think if you have bad games from here on out where it's close fights, that's to your detriment because Boise State as a whole, if you look bad, now obviously we talked about it before, this might be unfair, but it is somewhat how your team performs. If your team doesn't look good in a week, you're going to take odds hit. What they needed, and they got already, was to look really good against a top 10 team. They almost beat Oregon. I think that final score is like 37-34. There's not a lot left on this schedule for you to say, like, hey, that's going to be a game everyone's watching.
Here's the reason why I said they got to play in close games. They beat Portland State 56-14 and Utah State 62-30.
Mm-hmm.
He had 24 carries in those games total.
Yeah.
In those 2 games. So you got to play the tight ones. He got the totes he needed, right?
But again, would you rather have him have 19 carries a game, but his yards per carry is 8.6, or would you rather have him get, 30 carries a game?
I'd rather him break the rushing record. That's what I'd rather. If I'm the head coach of Boise State, I'd rather win football games. Ashton Jeanty win the Heisman.
What is the rushing
and
record?
Break the rushing record. 2,600 yards. Barry Sanders. He was averaging 31 attempts per game. This man is
Different
on
era.
the precipice of being a game short of breaking a record that has stood for 25 years in college football, 25 years plus in college football.
Oh, longer than that.
And he's getting 19 totes a game. 40 years in college football.
Yeah.
35.
35.
At the same time, though, if you're Ashton Jeanty, I don't know if you want to be carrying the rock 30 times a game.
Winning a Heisman.
If
I tell you, you win a Heisman, but it cuts your NFL career short by 2 years, or you have an additional 2 years in the NFL on top of an 8-year career. We're just extending your longevity, but you don't win a Heisman.
I don't know.
Give me the Heisman.
NFL money.
And running back contracts.
Nissan Heisman House commercials.
Woo! Man, you just got me pumped up.
That bro would be a legend.
He's already a legend.
Yeah, you're right. Johnny
People are
Manziel's
saying he's the
already
most
filed for bankruptcy
generational
multiple
running back
times.
prospect in like 10 years.
That's true.
He's going to be a first rounder.
Legend.
Yeah.
Who else we need to map out?
Jayden Milroe went out looking like you do and defying defense.
I said have Georgia-like performances against Tennessee and LSU because those are really the 2 biggest games on your schedule.
He's going to need them the rest of his career. Like, you talking about big games. We just found out that they could give up 40 any given Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So this dude might have to push it to the limits every single football game, and I think that's the path for him to winning a Heisman. If they win out despite their defense, people are going to look at this performance from Jayden Milroe and be like, holy hell, you're the closest thing to Cam Newton. By the way, he is. He's on pace for 735 yards rushing this year. That's more than RG3 had. He's on pace for 3,300 yards passing. That's more than Cam Newton had. So he's not as good of a runner as Cam was and not as good of a thrower as RG3 is or was, but he's better of a runner than RG3 is and better of a passer than Cam is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fairly simple to map.
It's a good stat, though. No Heisman's ever lost to Vandy.
That's a great stat.
That's a good
You
stat.
got to have the big games now because I mean, look, he still threw for 310 yards against Vanderbilt, but I mean, he was the Heisman favorite coming into that week. He's like 6th now.
Yeah.
His odds took a massive hit. So you have to have big games against LSU and Tennessee because those are the 2 last games where it's going to be like, hey, this is a real challenge for you all, and obviously you have to do well in the SEC championship. You can't lose again. You lose again, you're cooked.
Yeah. Same map?
Same map.
All right, let's do our last one. Cam Ward, who I think right now it's his to lose.
Feels that way.
Yeah,
I think it's Ashton Jeanty's to lose.
I think it's his to
I
lose.
think there's a lot more that can go wrong with
Guys,
Jeanty's than
he's
maybe
on
Cam
pace.
Ward's.
He's on pace right now for 4,800 yards passing, 5,200 yards total, and 50 total touchdowns.
Yeah,
It's impressive.
It's his to lose.
he is his to lose right now.
I've put a hex on Miami. I don't buy it.
Yeah, no, I'm the big Miami hater.
Sure, yeah, Miami, yeah, but Cam Ward's Heisman odds right now.
Cam Ward is a player on Miami, and his team is hexed.
His stat lines this year are as staggering as Jayden Daniels' were last year at this time. Where you're looking at it, you're like, holy hell, those are video game numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think it's his to lose as long as they keep winning, right? But even if they get to 10-2 and they're playing an ACC championship game and he throws for 350, he's probably winning the Heisman. You push back because of the Jeanty thing. I get it.
There's definitely an avenue where he does it. There's definitely an avenue where at 10-2, but I mean, at this rate, you should be the favorite.
Apparently, Bo Jackson lost to Vandy.
Oh.
Per GPT. So I don't know if the robot's right on that one.
We'll find out.
There are no game logs on Auburn 1982.
I'm sure they're fine.
Was that 1981? Was that 1981? He won after Herschel, didn't he?
He was after Herschel. He was like 83, 84, 85.
Okay.
We'll
What if Wednesday?
Let's do it.
We're running up on the local hour, but we'll run this off. I don't mind dragging this a little bit long. Okay, this is good stuff right here. What if Wednesday? What if Alabama has to score 45 to beat South Carolina this weekend?
Disgust. 45 to beat South Carolina?
Yeah. What if they need it?
Oh,
what if
my
they need
God.
to put up an absolute house of points?
Give Shane Beamer a 4-year contract extension?
Or just go ahead and fire Kane Wommack? That dude ain't fired. He ain't fired.
No.
He ain't getting fired.
No, I mean, this is very much let's remember, everyone.
You don't fire your buddy.
It's the first year. If you had promised Alabama fans as soon as Nick Saban retired, hey, I know the GOAT just retired. The next guy that comes in still going to get your team to number 1 at some point in the regular season. Everything would have been fine. I get the Vanderbilt loss was disgusting. You're still in year 1 of this program. You don't even have Kalen DeBoer's full roster yet, the full guys that he's wants. So pump the brakes on firing Kane Womack.
ChatGPT lied.
What if national contender gets the Jet job? What if a national title contending head coach gets the Jet job?
Ooh, then
who are they hiring, by the way? I was asking you this before the show.
I'll tell you who they're not hiring.
Who?
Kirby Smart.
Yeah, no, that's already been leaked on the internet. Apparently, it's trending.
It's popping up on Google.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I feel like this happens
every
quite
time.
often.
Every time there's an NFL
Yeah,
job.
I mean,
you were telling me Todd Monken's the third highest
Todd Monken
favorite.
had like the third highest odds.
Who's the highest odds?
I can't.
Somebody
even
you don't know the name
I
of?
couldn't even remember.
Yeah, very interesting. But yeah, what if it happens? What if like Lincoln Riley up and leaves USC mid-year to go to the Jets?
Ooh.
Would people call that a good decision? Leaving Miller Moss to go coach Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know. That's
Is Aaron Rodgers still going to be with the Jets at that point?
I mean, you're getting hired in season.
yeah.
You're going to they don't have a head coach right now.
Well, they got Ulbrich. He's coaching right
As
now.
an interim.
Yeah,
They
but
don't have a guy.
I don't know that. I don't see the reason
There's
why you
no
have
precipice for this, by the way. No one's ever left mid-season, pulled an Eric Taylor. Just
No.
up and
never
dip.
say never.
Clear eyes, full hearts. I got some more. What if 1 in 5 UMass gives Missouri a sweater at home? UMass, the home team in that football game, by the way.
Yes. Very
An
interesting.
absolute raucous environment up there in Mass.
I think we could all confidently say that Missouri
You're
was the
foolish.
biggest fraud of the year, if that was the case.
You're foolish for going to UMass.
Yeah.
You're just absolutely.
Yeah. What are you
I hope
doing?
you lose and we get another field storm by all 10 of those UMass fans. I hope it happens.
Hey, we had a screen shaker at UMass 3 weeks ago.
Screen shaker.
Fourth quarter screen shaker.
Yeah, that's
Turn
'cause-
it on, screen shaking, because fans are going so
it's
damn
'cause
nuts.
the camera-
Or the cameraman was withdrawing. I don't know, but it was a screen shaker.
I'm shocked UMass's TV contract isn't with TikTok Live.
Damn.
It's crazy.
I got one.
Come on.
What if the number 1 spot is cursed this season?
Mm.
I've got some data for you. The number 1 team has covered the spread just once this entire college football season. This is the 3rd straight week we've had a different number 1 team. It was Georgia, then Alabama, then Texas. And then obviously we all saw what happened to Alabama last week against Vanderbilt. So what if the number 1 spot is not necessarily desirable? kind of interesting to watch as Texas plays Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry.
Isn't that how fans already feel about the number one spot? I feel like every team that outside of maybe Alabama because they were in it for so long.
No, teams celebrate it. Ask any Mississippi State fan what was the best season of your life. They'll say 2014 because we made it to number one.
You want to know how bad my ADD brain is right now? I'm trying to think of the lyrics to Number One Spot by Ludacris. Coming for the number one spot.
So what if the number one team is cursed this year?
I mean, I guess I don't know.
Like this could be like 2007 was iconic because the number 2 spot was cursed like 5 weeks in a row. They lost. Interesting.
I mean, I guess it just goes into the old saying of the only time it matters is at the end of the season. That's the only time the number one spot in the country ever matters.
Yeah, but if we look back and say, holy shit, the number one team lost or had bad performances like 5
Bro, Luda
weeks.
was spitting. My music sticks in fans' veins like an ivy, flows poison like ivy. Oh, they grimy. Oh, my Lord. Luda. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
What if BYU looks dominant against Arizona? Are they your Big 12 favorite? What if BYU looks dominant against Arizona? Are they?
I'm all over the Cougs.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're all over the Cougs?
I'm all over the Cougs.
All right.
I can't confidently say anyone is my Big 12 favorite. I mean, that conference is such it's full of cannibalism where, hey, this might be the good team, and then the other team that sucks seems to eat it, and I'm not buying anything the Big 12 is selling this year. Sorry.
I got way more of these. What if Ohio State bitch slaps Oregon and Penn State loses this weekend?
Ohio
State fans might flip a lid.
I mean, but like, what if it's so clear and obvious that Ohio State's the only good football team in the Big Ten? And then everyone else is just
I don't think
mediocre to bad.
anything's clear and obvious in this season of college football. I think that could be your takeaway that, okay, Ohio State's probably deserving of the number one spot and that maybe Oregon isn't adjusting to the Big Ten as well as we thought, like we said at the start of the season. But I don't think it's like, signed and delivered Ohio State's the number one team. It's obvious. It's clear and cut. Put them in the playoff right now. Like we just kind of did that to Alabama and they just lost to Vanderbilt.
Hugh Freeze lied on a press conference. Hugh Freeze Saturday told the world that Peyton Thorne called his own number and checked out of a play. Peyton Thorne is fed up with being thrown under the bus by his head football coach. So he went on a show that pays him, I would assume pays him, that he does interviews with every single week, all right, on Mondays, was asked about that play. Peyton said, I'm not going to get into it, but I didn't check out of any play. I want y'all to know that. I did what I was coached to do, essentially, is what Peyton said. Hugh Freeze was asked about that again today and basically confirmed exactly what Peyton said, was that, he didn't really call an audible. He didn't check out of a play. He had the option to do that. It was just the wrong option, was the paraphrasing of what Hugh Freeze said, which was the exact thing I told you last night. And this is what frustrates me about this guy. He goes in front of the microphones and he shits on his quarterbacks. And here's what he does to his quarterbacks, all right? Here's the deal, Q. We're going to go through the week of preparation. And on this particular look and this particular play, I'm going to give you 5 doors. Now, if you open 3 of these doors, there's an alligator on the other side. He's going to eat your face off. And when he eats your face off at the end of the game, I'm going to be like, well, he was playing with the gator bait anyways. That was his fault. But if you open these other 2 doors, touchdowns. So please, just open these other 2 doors. And if you don't, I'm going to shit down your throat in front of the microphone in the press game or post game. All right, head to the local hour. We got a whole nother hour. It's a loaded one for you. We'll see you in a second.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Welcome back, everyone. We've had a miscue, apparently. Brooks is not here, but welcome to the local hour. We're going to talk that dog.
Going to Zimbabwe or something.
Yeah, so
Zinni Chesney or something.
We'll let you know when he's back in action. But, yeah, we're here to talk that dog for you guys. We got another loaded slate for you following up the national hour right now. We're going to preview some Mississippi State versus Georgia. We're going to kind of take you back to the last matchup, kind of refresh you of what was going on during that time, what that game looked like, and everything that entailed that. Is it a tune-up game or a trap game for Georgia? You could argue both, perhaps. Can Georgia defense their way to a national title? We're going to give you that topic as well, kind of take you back to some other previous national title winners as well. And look, we found Brooks again. He's back in action.
No Zens, though.
Oh,
Couldn't find him.
oh, you went blind. You were just hoping and praying.
Yeah, I thought I left him in my truck, but I didn't.
Unfortunate.
Where are we at?
I was just reading down
Just
the slate.
opening the local hour.
Good slate.
Yeah.
Good slate.
It's a loaded one, as I said. Might even get some nostalgic
Did you
tape, too.
sprint there?
Yeah.
Good cardio.
It's a good effort.
Nice.
Good effort. Got high effort. You're not going to help your brother out? You just go put the camera on him and watch him struggle?
Yeah, I'm watching this. This is entertaining.
All right.
If I'm enjoying it, the audience is definitely enjoying it.
Local hour. Mississippi State preview here. I already gave you the rundown. Let's start. Can Georgia defense their way to a natty?
Ooh, right
This
off
is
the
possible.
bat.
This is a good question. I think that –
And here's why I proposed it.
Okay.
Okay? Because I talked about it last night. It's not a great offense.
No.
And at this point, we are 6 games into the regular season. 5? 5 games into the regular season. Got 7 more to go. And through 5 games, there's nothing on – when you fail to execute consistently, you're just not a great offense. Great offenses constantly execute. So if they're not going to be a great offense, I do think they are a really good defense. Like, really, borderline great. Like, to the point where I think they're 2019 good, and I think they're 2022 good. I don't think anyone will ever be 2021 good ever again. And apart from one 20-minute stretch against Alabama, this defense has been national title winning caliber. So my question to you before the show, Jonathan, was just how good does your offense have to be for your defense to drag your ass to a national title?
I think there's one mark that you have to hit as an offense in order to win a national title. And I took 2 examples from previous national title winners, one being Michigan last year, the other one being Alabama 2015. I think those are 2 examples from college football playoff era, 2 teams that weren't exactly led by these elite offenses, but they had really good defenses. To give you some context, Michigan last year averaged 35.9 points per game. Alabama in 2015 averaged 35.1. So, again, not averaging 40-plus points per game, not absolutely lighting it on fire or anything by that means. But I think what that does mean is your offense has to average over 35 points per game or right at that mark. Right now, Georgia is averaging 32. You got to get to that 35-point mark. I think at that point, then you could say Georgia's offense is definitely good enough to win a national title.
Now, obviously, the Kentucky game has drastically impacted this scoring margin that Georgia has. But I don't think anyone right now with a sane brain is looking at Georgia's offense and going, top 5 in the country, top 10 in the country.
It's not.
Great. Borderline really good. Can threaten some people. Not yet great.
Yeah, just
And I think there's still plenty of time for it to be a great offense. If the baseline of what this offense stays at right now is what it is, I don't think so. I would venture to say, and I think it's safe to assume this offense hasn't peaked yet. I mean, we've gone the entire time saying they're not quite firing on all cylinders yet. There's still certain areas where they need to improve on. I think there's still plenty of room for them to be elite. I still think that you can absolutely win a national title with this offense.
I think the whole reason why there should still be optimism around this offense, and it's kind of interesting to me that it happened in the first week of the season. That's the best they looked all year was when they played Clemson. That was the best the offense has looked the entire season. And in that week 1 performance, it was like, this is going to be a really good offense. Carson Beck looked really good. Wide receivers were making plays. The run game without Trevor Etienne was looking really good. Offensive line played their best game of the season.
Yeah.
So it's in them that they're able to, and that's against a Clemson defense that is one of the best in the country, that has a lot of good football players on that roster. So it wasn't like it was against some slappy team that is like, oh, of course the offense dominated. So that's the whole reason why, at least me personally, I still hold out optimism for this offense because I've seen them do it. I've seen them play a clean game for 4 quarters. I've seen them execute time and time again. you just got to pick that back up and get it rolling and do it consistently game after game.
You want to hold out optimism for this offense. Georgia's offense in 2021 averaged 30.8 points for their first 5 games.
That was quick. You got that really,
Did
really
some
quick.
math right here. So the first 5 games it was 30.8, and that was when you had Stetson Bennett coming in, switching with JT Daniels. Things quite weren't figured out at quarterback. The offense didn't really have an identity. The back half of that 2021 season, especially in the regular season, was when you figured out, okay, Stetson Bennett is the quarterback moving forward. We have an offensive identity. Now, I think Georgia's offense this year is similar to that, where you just need to find your identity. You need things to start clicking a little more. You need to get your rotations a little more cleaned up, and you'll be fine. I'm not worried about this offense at all, honestly.
Biggest concern about the offense right now, what is it?
There isn't.
And don't tell me execution. Give me a specific thing other than execution that they struggle with.
Well, it's execution related, but it's not that, they can't execute. There isn't one area of improvement where you can say, okay, if you get that fixed, it's fine. You could have a really good day on the offensive line, and your wide receiver can be inconsistent. You can have a really good day with your wide receivers pass catching and getting open, but your offensive line's not blocking well. There could be running backs. There hasn't been a full, complete game from the entire unit as a whole yet.
You mentioned the one. Catch the ball. Catch the ball. These discussions are totally different.
Yep.
It's not that you're dropping passes. It's that you're dropping, like, high school auditorium dunks. That's what you're dropping. You're dropping 40-yard bombs. You got dead air in the stadium right now, Curb. Hit a 45-yard shot. See if people don't lose their ever-loving shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a momentum booster. It's a confidence swayer. It's everything changes when we start hitting them deep threes, man. Gotta catch the football. Do that. What would what would be your biggest concern right now?
Yeah, I mean, it would be that. I would say that'd be the one. And I was just going to kind of focus on the fact of nobody in the receiving core, not just wide receivers, nobody in the receiving core yet has just kind of inserted themselves as, oh, I'm the dog. I'm the number one. Because I think every really good football team needs to have when you walk into a football game, that's the number one option. That's who they're going to.
Jonathan, has anybody made themselves the true number one alpha of this football team?
Nope. Well,
Jalen Walker?
I think Trevor Etienne has put his name on that list.
Okay.
And the coaches even talk about him like he's one of our better leaders.
All
So
right.
they've started to emerge.
Okay. And
But
Tate's hurt.
Yeah,
Tate's hurt. He was one that was constantly talked about as one of these.
I think Mikel was this as well. He's gotten hurt.
Very introverted is Mikel.
Yes.
Very much so like C.J. Allen in this sense, too.
Yeah, I was just more so speaking of you need someone in this offense where when you walk into it, that's the number one option. That's who they want this offense to kind of run through.
That's fair. All right, let's do this Mississippi State preview. I got a bunch of notes right here. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Also want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Better. Better now offers college football props. Enter more than or less than key stats on college football players. You can play in 23 states, including the fine state of Georgia. Better is now matching first-time deposits up to $250 if you use code Brooks or click the link in the description of this video. One day we ought to play a game of Brooks. Can you guess which one of those states is highlighted on this Better map? I think that'd be good content to watch how just football-brained I am. All right, enough of that. Mississippi State preview. I don't want to watch Mississippi State. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I don't blame you.
I don't want to watch it, but I will. I will study it, and I will attack the day like you're supposed to. Okay, but I will give you the precipice or the overarching viewpoint of who this football team is from what I know. Offense plays with a blistering pace, the fastest pace in college football. They're faster than Tennessee. They're faster than any fast-paced offense you can imagine. They run more plays and play, or I shouldn't say run more plays. They have less time in between each snap than anybody else in college football. It is by far the fastest pace, and that's despite the fact, guys, that this football team, Mississippi State, runs more plays in less time than anybody in college football, despite the fact that they have not held a lead since week 1 of college football.
Wow.
They've been down 35-3 in the third quarter against Toledo. They've been down 28-7 to Florida in the second quarter. They've been down 28-6 to Texas in the third quarter. They have been down 3 scores, sometimes 4 scores, in games before the half, and they still lead the nation in pace. Do you know what that tells you? They don't give a shit. They don't care if you beat them 55-0. They're going to run their offense. There is no, hey, coach, Y'all just went 3 and out for the third time in 10 seconds. They're up 28-0. Our defense has been on the field for 11 minutes of the 12 minutes that we've been playing football today. Can you slow it down? Jeff Lebby's over there going, that's too damn bad. That's it. So this team, no matter what, will be playing with pace. You need to know that right now. Defensively, how can you expect them to be good? I don't know. I've watched Mississippi State football this year, and I feel bad. I really do. I feel bad for their defensive coordinator because inevitably he's likely going to lose a job, right? It's not going to be the lifelong job you would imagine right now in Mississippi State for him right now. They're averaging 70 snaps per game. 70 snaps per game on the defensive side of the football. And here's how you know. Here's how you really know they're being gashed, and they're gassed, not just gashed. They're giving up 5.1 yards per carry right now.
Ooh.
5.1 yards per carry. You know what that tells me? They get no knockback. Zero. They cannot get off the ball. You know why? Because they got their hands on their hips. They're sucking for wind like I was to start this local hour. I mean, absolutely gassed on the defensive side of the football. They oddly force a lot of turnovers, though. And it's not interceptions. They've got 5 forced fumbles. And 5 fumble recoveries. I don't even know how many forced fumbles they have. All right? I think that leads the SEC. They're averaging a fumble recovery per game. It's weird.
It's pretty good.
But that's a very up and down stat.
I wonder if it's players that are gassed. They're like, I'm just going to try and take a swing at the ball, put
I'm
my helmet on the
Tillman
ball.
This shit. I've been on the field for 45 minutes today.
I'm going to do it's like the equivalent of taking a charge on the basketball court of, I don't want to play defense, but take a charge. You don't have to play defense.
I just can't. That stat right there, down 35-3, down 28-7, down 28-6, and you lead the nation in pace?
Yeah, I mean, it very much says to me that Jeff Lebby
doesn't care about complimentary football?
No, he doesn't care about this season. He's going to try to instill his offensive system the best he can. It's the first year. You got to get your offense in place. Your Mississippi State football, your program's probably not going to succeed if you don't have a strong offensive identity anyways. So they're probably hammering things on. They're probably not trying to play too much out of their comfort zone because, let's be fair, this roster is going to be in uncomfortable situations throughout the majority of the season. You're going to be up against better opponents 90% of the time. That's what it says to me, at least.
What did the stats say? Did you run stats down this week?
Yeah, of course I did.
Oh, my God. Attacking the day.
Stats were it was just kind of what you expected of a team that has struggled this much. But honestly, like going back and looking at it, not as bad as you would think. Like it doesn't just pop off the page of, oh, wow, that's why they really suck. Like, I mean, they're averaging 27.4 points per game, but the 31.6 points allowed on defense is where it's like, oh, that's why you're really bad as a football team, because you're allowing that many points. The stats just kind of said offense kind of getting there maybe a little bit, but just not finishing the drill necessarily. Like, I think that they had 4 different possessions in the red zone this season where they haven't scored, and they're kicking a whole lot of field goals. Let me find this red zone stat for you, because I thought this was really intriguing.
They're settling a lot?
Yeah. Mississippi State has scored 14 times out of 18 attempts, 11 TDs, 3 field goals. So it's just not getting there a lot either, but you're also settling at times. Maybe that was a different stat I was thinking of. But
all good. I mean, only 14 red zone possessions in 5 games is not good.
Not very nice.
Those aren't good stats. But yeah, touchdowns are good. 11-3 is not a bad ratio.
Yeah, not bad. Georgia has a good ratio as well.
Yeah. All right.
Brings up the perfect transition to the next segment. Is this a trap game or is this a tune-up game?
If you can't tune up versus a team that lost by 24 points to Toledo at home while playing their backup quarterback on the road.
Did you say 35-3? 35-3 against Toledo?
They were down 35-3.
Yeah, that was a disgusting.
35-3. Guys, I hate to do this because I know if Kirby, if he's listening right now, I'm going to get side-eyed. All right, the next time I see him. You should beat the shit out of this football team. This is a bad football team. And I know we want to do the S every week. You're 1 week away from humility. It shouldn't be this week. All right, it should not be this week. This is a bad football team all around, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think there's an argument, a very solid argument, that this is by far the worst team in the SEC. If this can't be a tune-up game, there are none, right? UMass is the one at the end of the year. But if there's not a game where you can come out here and handle business and get out early when they've had leads, they've succumbed to leads of 35-3 against Toledo, buddy, there ain't one. So this better be the one. And I hope he is approaching it like that, honestly. You should know how good your football team is.
Yeah.
I guess the area of concern comes from the fact of, obviously, we saw what happened last week, and then we all know what game's coming up the week after this one. So there's kind of, is Georgia looking ahead? Is Georgia overlooking an SEC opponent? But No, you're absolutely right. This should be the week where everyone goes, oh, this is what with the offense we've been waiting for. This is what a Georgia football team looks like, even though it's been very solid all season.
I would say after the Kentucky game, there's not a trap game. You don't have a trap game on the schedule anymore because I don't think that you're going to approach it anymore. Now, I know that game necessarily wasn't just, oh, we got Alabama coming up in a bye week. Like, we just got to get through Kentucky because Georgia is very familiar with playing Kentucky and playing Kentucky on the road. But I just don't think that you're going to approach it with that mindset. At least I hope not.
I got to address this. Guys, there's Colby Young banter going back and forth right now in the chat. Look, he's suspended indefinitely, and we don't know anything that went on. We don't know. We will not know. We can read the police report, and you guys are going to go with your own thoughts and opinions on that. I thought we nipped that in the bud last night. The fact that it's not our job to differentiate what happened. All right? We don't know. It's in a vacuum, and it's going to stay in a vacuum. So please stop. Please stop in the chat. If you want us to talk about what the adjustments look like now without him, go back last night and watch last night's show because we addressed the entire lineup, all right? We also addressed the idea that you don't necessarily need a big-bodied X nowadays in football, not even college football, professional football as well. You don't necessarily need one anymore. The best wide receivers in the world are 6 foot, 200 pounds, all right? So we've already addressed this. I would please appreciate if there's no more banter about who was right, who was wrong, taking sides about a story that you don't know about. All right, so let's just stop that. And I know the people listening this on rewatch don't even know what I'm talking about, but I want to address that.
Oh, here's a stat that I thought was really interesting about Mississippi State in the red zone. Wasn't the offense, it was the defense. Opponents have reached the red zone 21 times against Mississippi State and scored on 18 of them. 16 of those have been touchdowns. That's the 8th most in the country, and only 2 of them have been field goals.
So not even a good red zone defense then, huh?
No. Really bad. And here's an interesting one for Georgia in the red zone. Opponents have reached the end zone against Georgia just 11 times. That's the 7th fewest in the country right now.
So this will be kind of the metric game of, if you don't handle business against this team where they've put on this much crap through, 5-6 games they play. Have they had a bye week yet?
I don't know.
Either way, they've put this much consistently bad football through halfway through the season. It is time to be concerned about whatever it is.
100%. If you walk away with questions about this offense or where there are still moments where it's like this offense isn't really getting it done after this weekend, that's the time to start having concerns.
Are they even bad explosive data-wise?
Like defensively?
Yes.
Are they giving up a lot of explosives?
Are they giving up a lot of explosives defensively? I know one got called back against Florida for bullshit rough or targeting.
Was that the butt targeting?
Block. That was the block that got called.
Oh, yeah. Texas A&M was the butt
They're honestly
targeting.
not horrible.
They're not
allowing explosives. They got 21 20-plus yard plays allowed, 7 30-plus yard plays allowed, and 1 40-plus yard plays allowed.
So they are a bend, but don't try not to break defense that constantly breaks.
For context, Georgia has allowed 6 30-plus yard plays this season.
So they're just
how many of them were against Bama?
We're gonna make it.
I don't know.
We're gonna make it really, really hard and methodical to get down there, and then we'll let you right in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So defense is doing everything they can to grind it out, while the offense, on the other hand, is saying, to hell with grinding it out. We just want to go fast.
One thing I do remember from that Florida football game, it's the only time I've watched Mississippi State in extensive action. They talk a lot of shit. They ready to run that mouth, even though they're not very good.
Shocked they have the breath to talk any shit.
Yeah, I'm surprised, especially defensively.
From a schematic standpoint, I don't know how much you study them. Is there anything that could necessarily be something to look out for here, or something not necessarily that could give you problems now, but, hey, look at how Georgia attacks this because they might run it throughout the season?
I've spent an hour and a half on Georgia's offense versus Auburn this week. I spent 2 hours on Vandy versus Alabama. I spent an hour on Georgia's defense this week. I'm up to 4.5 hours of film study. I think I would pull a tooth before I go watch Mississippi State.
That's fair.
And I love football. I do. I love watching football. I love grinding tape. Okay, but man, I've watched a lot of ball this week, and I don't want to watch bad ball.
Here's another fun stat. Mississippi State has allowed 19 sacks this season. That's the 4th most in the entire country. 34 tackles for loss.
Those offensive linemen are probably gassed too.
Yeah.
That's why.
Just getting whipped.
Just sucking wind
19
the whole 4
sacks.
quarters. Now, I will say this. They did slow it down last week against Texas. I saw 50 rushing attempts to 28 passes last week on the spray chart.
Just get out of here.
Yeah,
as
just
fast
get
as
the
we
hell up
can.
out of here. And this might, honestly, it might be a Tennessee Tech game plan. Tennessee Tech ran the ball 19 times in a row against Georgia.
Yeah, they did.
You think they were trying to win?
No.
They were trying to get the hell up out of there. And maybe that's what Jeff Lebby's going to do the rest of the year. We're going to play fast running the ball. We're going to play fast running the ball. And we're just going to get the hell out of here.
Chew clock on from jump.
But chew it fast.
Yeah.
And we're going to get up out of here.
Don't chew it, just swallow it.
Yeah.
Thank you for the demonstration.
Yeah, we needed to hear that.
Like you're eating, what's it's not mushu. What's the food?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Dragon from Mulan?
No, the African food.
Yeah, it's got like the bread or the dough with it.
Yeah. And
you're
you
not supposed to chew it.
You're not supposed to chew it. You're supposed to swallow it.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you're talking
You
about.
lost me.
See, I could make fun of you for not being cultured if I knew the name of it right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
I got to look it up.
Please do. That's very, very important. I'm waiting for the chat to help us out here, but I guess the chat's not going to.
Fufu.
Fufu. I wanted to call it mushu.
Yeah.
Yeah, fufu.
that's the dragon from Mulan.
Yeah. That's on me. But last time Mississippi State was in Athens. Do we want to go ahead and transition?
Weird game, because I was thinking about it, because,
I remember 3 things from that football game.
you go ahead, because I was at this game too, actually.
I remember 3 things very, very vividly. JT Daniels absolutely ate in this football game, and the reason I remember is because I got cooked. It was his first career start. And your boy went on the YouTube and broke down some USC film, and I was like, bro, I do not love these 20-plus yard throws. I think he was 5 for 6 in that football game on 20-plus throws. And I was like, bro, I do not think this guy's got enough horsepower. I don't think this guy's got enough juice to be out here playing the SEC. 400 yards first start. This is the first time in his career he threw for 400 yards, by the way.
I was thinking it was the only time.
No, he had 3 more. He had 2 of them at Rice.
Oh, okay.
He
Well,
had
right.
2 400-yard games
Shout
at
out
Rice.
to Rice.
1 at West Virginia. Okay.
So he never did it again at Georgia.
No. Never did it again at Georgia. He was 28 for 38, 401 yards, 4 touchdowns, and had the most absolute fire post-game quote that was ever delivered by a Georgia quarterback. Because, of all the Georgia quarterbacks, JT's about the only one willing to say something. It's why this was his last press conference for the rest of the year. This was the press conference he got up in front of the microphones and said, hey, man, if you're not going to throw the balls to these wide receivers, just don't recruit them. Never to be heard from again. Never got in front of a microphone again.
And
Never
then
again.
Stetson Bennett came in.
Stetson Bennett started the rest of the football games. Yeah. No. What you're not going to do is stand up in front of the microphone and question our tactics. I don't think that's why. But, no, yeah, he did. It was the rest of the time he was very controlled in front of microphones.
You can only do it once.
Yeah,
and
you
he
can
made
only
it count.
You can only get clipped and go viral for saying something like that once, and then you're going to get corrected very quickly by that coaching staff.
This was also the Jermaine Burton game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yes,
that
it
was
was.
number 2. Jermaine Burton cooked, and that made me feel a little bit better because if you guys remember, I don't think there was a stock I fell for more than Jermaine Burton coming out of high school.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And I was way too close to that, and I've learned from that. I watched Jermaine Burton work out more than any football player that I've ever covered because he worked with Terrence all the time, and he was always at the bubble, and I spent more time with Terrence trying to learn about that position and then subsequently learn about corner too because Justin Miller would always have his corners there, and it was a tremendous time to really learn and grow as a recruiting analyst and get to know all these people, and I was just way too close to it, but I was all over him. He was my guy. He was the start of my guys, to be honest with you. I was like, hey, it's a high-ranked 4-star, but I think this dude's going to be elite. Being a 3rd-round draft pick, and ended up working out, and he led the SEC in yards per reception last year, so I was kind of right, but I didn't envision all of the issues that would come.
Yeah, and he showed a lot of promise in that 2020 season. I feel like there were certain parts of the season where it's like, we got to get number 7 the ball. And they did. They gave him a lot of end arounds in that Tennessee game. They had one drive where he was just spammed against Alabama. So there were moments in 2020 where they were really trying to get him the ball. I just don't think it necessarily worked out.
And my third thing I remember from this football game, this is my 2nd year covering Georgia, and obviously this is COVID and no fans there and all that. But I remember most about this football game rushing 3 and dropping 8. Rushing 3 and dropping 8. and knowing why they were doing it, right? This is an empty air raid offense from Mike Leach. If you try to play man coverage, you're going to get scorched earth, no different than LSU did to start the season that year.
Shout
Remember,
out KJ Costello.
LSU gave up like 600 yards passing trying to play man coverage against Mississippi State. And guess what? They were the last football team the rest of Mike Leach's life to ever play man coverage against him. Everybody else played soft zone. And I vividly remember watching Georgia fans go irate on social media. And it was really my first, oh, wow. And not to do this, but you guys that watch this, y'all have become very, very educated. I think you would be the first to admit watching this channel has really grown your knowledge and there's growth in the knowledge of football. You understand it a lot better than you did 5 years ago when we started this channel. So I don't mean this now, but I certainly meant it then. In 2020, when that game happened, and everybody's asking for them to play man and blitz and do all this, I'm like, there's a lack of knowledge about how you're supposed to play this game and how this game is supposed to go. And it's a classic example of criticism before credit. Instead of looking at it and say, oh shit, this Will Rogers guy's a true freshman. He's completing 92% of his passes today. That's pretty impressive. Instead of saying that, you wanted to go, our defensive structure is terrible right now. Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we getting after this guy? Well, guess what? You cover zeroed him once, and Mark Webb gave up a 48-yard touchdown pass right on your face. All right, and then you never played man again the rest of the game, and you won the game. All right, and Will Rogers never played like that the rest of his life. But you were wrong as a fan base, and that was my first one where I was like, oh, they don't quite see everything that they're supposed to see. So that's a void. Let's find a way to get that to them. Let's find a way to get that information to them, that knowledge.
I think if anything, what watching film has at least done for me personally, and what I hope it has done for a lot of other people is, like, it's not as easy for me still to like watch a football game unfold and be like, oh, this is what's happening. But it has certainly taught me, like, don't be so reactionary in a football game, because what you may think is them doing something wrong or what you think is dumb, there's always a reason for it. There's always some other like reasoning behind it. So a lot less reactionary based, and okay, let's just wait and see why they did that on Monday.
Yeah, I definitely learned this through. You have something you want to say? Or?
Yeah, are there people? It seems like there's people in the chat wondering why Jermaine Burton left. A little guy by the name of Ladd McConkey. He stole all of his reps.
McConkey.
At the end of that 2020 year, Ladd's starting at Z, and Jermaine Burton's sitting on the bench. That's why he left.
2021.
I said that, didn't I?
2020.
My bad. 2021.
It's all good.
Yep.
Into the first Natty. I mean, Ladd was starting. So that was it.
What were you saying, though?
Oh, just saying basically, yeah, the playing football and watching the show and all the other things, you learn that there are reasons why things happen in football, and most of the time the answer isn't our coach is doing something wrong or our player's an idiot. There's certain reasons as to why things happen in football. There's a reason why you're giving up a 5-yard hitch when you're in cover 4. There's a reason as to why someone had a deep shot over you. There's a reason as to why you're only rushing 3 against this type of quarterback. There's a reason why you haven't had a sack all day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not just the coach is doing something wrong.
And look, man, sometimes it's both. Sometimes, like, I was on radio in Tuscaloosa yesterday, and they were trying to pin me down and blame all the coaches. And I'm like, look, man, on that 17-play drive, there's 2 examples of players being the issue and coaches being the issue. The coach was the issue on the first 4th down when they're getting off the field and they got 2 guys wearing the same number. And then the 4th and 1 or 3rd and 9, they're getting off the field later in the football game, and number 34 hits Pavia right in the face, and they get a personal foul. So, like, reasons why you lose are a variety of things. It's never just one thing, all right? And I think that's what film shows.
The other interesting thing about this game was that it was the beginning of your historic regular season win streak.
I thought you were going to say my historic rise as a media personality.
No, the regular season win streak is what I was talking about.
I can't be a little self-indulged every once in a while.
Go ahead. But that's not what I was saying.
Yeah, I know. Second to last time they wore black jerseys. Last time they wore them in regular season.
Last time they wore them in Athens. So, which, by the way, it'll change this year when they play Georgia Tech. I'm just going to keep hammering that.
That? They're wearing black against
someone, please, every time I say that, just screen record and send it to me. So when Georgia Tech when they wear black jerseys against Georgia Tech this year, I have like 15 clips of me saying it.
And what happens if they don't?
I'll own up and say I was wrong.
Okay, that's a no one really cares if you're wrong on that one.
Yeah. But
man,
hey, if I'm right,
you would have been a legend if you would have called that Vandy upset. But now you're just a guy on a YouTube show with 30,500 subscribers.
Yeah, but I was also the only one who said it would be close, so I'll take that. I'll take that
That's
victory.
fair.
And I was right about the top 10 teams, so.
What other things happened in this game the last time they were here?
We talked about it was JT Daniels' first start. There wasn't a crowd. It was the COVID game. This was, it was Mike Leach last time being in Athens, RIP. Just a lot of interesting things going on around this game to where if you go back and watch it, one, it doesn't look like a Georgia football game because they're in completely different jerseys. It's a completely different team. And two, the program itself, to see where it's changed so much for the last 4 years. I mean, there's guys that were on that 2020 team that are still on this roster, albeit there's not a lot of them, but the changes that program has gone through in since that time period is insane to look at.
Do we have an Ask Brooks segment tonight?
We do.
I have yeah.
Yeah, let's do this. Guys, we got 25 minutes, okay? So we got to stretch. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's yoga this bitch.
Oh, I got you.
All right.
If you had to pick one offensive player to just absolutely smash through the roof for the rest of the season, like Mississippi State all the way till whatever your final game of the season is, even if it's the Natty, one player to smash through the roof, who would it be?
Give me Dominic Lovett. Dominic Lovett averaging a C note the rest of the year. Give me a hundo every single week the rest of the year, and we're Gucci.
Ooh, 100 every single
Give me a hundo.
I would say I think Aaron Smith.
Yeah?
Because he's the most take the top off type guy. He's the most vertical threat. He is the fastest wide receiver in your team. If he is consistently hitting on all cylinders, if he's not making mistakes, if he's catching every deep ball you throw at him, that is an absolute weapon. And the way they've used him this year has been unexpected for all of us. I think he's been used in the intermediate and short passing game way more than I think we thought it was. For the last 4 seasons, he came in, it was kind of the, hey, look out, this is the speedy guy that if he's going vertical, it's a touchdown, but that's really all his route tree is. No, he's got a legit route tree now. So if you can really get him to be excelling and playing to his full potential, I think you have a very scary receiver.
I'm developing a theory here based off reading the chat. I think that if your head coach specializes on one side of the ball, the other coordinator on the other side of the ball is always going to get shit on. Nick Saban, defensive coach. Tommy Rees was absolutely just vilified last year. Bill O'Brien was shit on. Mike Bobo gets absolutely berated all of the time because they're not going to point the finger at the defensive guy. Like Glenn Schumann finally got heat last week for the first time ever. I mean, I saw people on social media upset with Schumann. I'm like, insane.
Yeah, that started at the Bama game.
And look, DeBoer's going to have this the rest of his career. People aren't this week aren't complaining about DeBoer's offense being stagnant in times and every other possession punting the football after 3 plays. No, they're sitting there bitching about Womack. Now, Womack gave up 40 points and 500 yards total offense or whatever it was awful. I understand that. But, like, when your head coach prioritizes on one side of the ball, I think the other guy's going to get shit on way disproportionately. Just a random thought I had.
That's an interesting theory, and it definitely makes sense because obviously Kirby's head honcho, and he is known for the defenses. I also think you benefit from the fact that your defenses have been historically great under Kirby Smart. Like,
I guess Ryan Day doesn't get this. They just criticize Ryan Day.
Yeah.
They're just willing to shit on him.
Do people really criticize Lane Kiffin's defensive coordinator?
Yeah. People were begging for Alex Grinch to be fired for 3 years. Wondering if he had naked photos of Lincoln Riley.
Lane Kiffin.
Oh, Lane Kiffin. I think say Lincoln.
Pete Golding is certainly
Pete
still
Golding
getting
definitely
heat.
gets this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just workshopping your theory now. I'm trying to. No, yeah, Lincoln Riley definitely. Alex Grinch certainly. Lincoln Riley got crap for having Alex Grinch on his staff so long.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting theory. I think it's definitely.
I might have to fully bake this one instead of just microwaving it right here on live television. But either way, all right. Ask Brooks. Continue.
I've got one. Is there anything from a schematic point that this offense could do differently to necessarily be more explosive and quote unquote get the fans excited?
Yeah, I think things can be cleaner. I think I pointed out a couple of rubs on Saturday that I think we can fix and make a little bit better. Especially like the rub that Vandy had was perfect, where the guy actually picks and the running back's behind the line of scrimmage. Saturday they tried the same thing, where we're running a slant and we're running a swing from the back, but the slant from the ex-receiver wasn't quite tight enough, so they didn't collide with the linebacker, right? Or on mesh routes, we're not actually rubbing. We're rubbing one guy's 2 or 3 yards up underneath so the defenders never bump each other, right? The little refinements in this offense can be much, much better. From a schematical play calling standpoint, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not, smart enough to be out here criticizing the actual design and concepts of football.
Right.
Also, mentally, it looks to me like they're calling and running the same style of plays that they were with Monken, right? It's the execution of said plays that I think are lacking, all right? And that's something we've pointed to all year. Like, again, if some of these balls are caught, we're not sitting here doing this, you know? And so I don't think there's an issue with play calling. And also, by the way, like, when I see a team running cover 3 or they are a man team and they show up running cover or some type of zone, I see your coordinator doing a good enough job confirming coverage and then attacking that coverage once he gets it confirmed. And that's the whole portion, that's the job of a coordinator, to get us in the right play call, right? Make sure we're running something that's working against the defense that's proposed against us. And I think he's done a good job of doing that. The one thing I will say, the one negative criticism I have is that I do think 2 weeks ago against Alabama, when you're playing a man-to-man team like that, maybe design some man beaters that don't require 40-yard completions, right? Maybe design some man beaters that are 5-yard pitches and catches, that because we created such a man beater that it becomes a 20-yard explosive after the catch because there's so much space having been created. That's what Vandy did a really, really good job of.
Okay.
There, instead of just, hey, we got the one-on-one shot, let's try to hit Arian Smith 45 yards downfield. It was, hey, we've got one-on-one, so let's stack the release, let's run a dig and a slant in between that, and let's hit the slant. And the guys that are trying to tackle him are now 6 yards behind him, and the tight end's going to be able to make a big play afterwards.
Here's another question then that I'll ask. Are you going to see a team that consistently with stubbornness runs man against you like you did Alabama? Because coming into it, we thought it would be Clemson. We said Clemson's a lot of man. They'll do 5-man pressures, and they came out and ran cover 3 the majority of the game. So
yeah, we thought the same thing of Auburn, and they came out and ran drop zone. So I don't think – honestly, I think it was a mistake by Bama to do it. The best results Bama had defensively in that football game was running mixed zone coverage.
Yep.
When they played man and straight up cover 1, Georgia got to them. The only times in the second half where Georgia had problems and almost turned the ball over was when Bama got up out of that and played just something slightly different. So now they attacked the split Tampa 2 that they play later in the football game, but there was a lot there.
I'm going to ask this because of recent events and also because I think when this player is brought up that assumptions are just kind of made. So I think it'll be good to just kind of get a clear answer or a clear vision of what this player's role could be. What is London Humphrey's role as a wide receiver? What does his role in this offense look like?
He's a Z. He's a Z receiver, and the problem right now is that Arian Smith's also a Z, and Dylan Bell should be a Z, but he's going to have to play X now. So I think the role has certainly bumped up for him now that Colby's not going to be available, as indefinitely suspended.
But could he be this player that does play some X? Because I mean, Georgia has done this in years.
Stop. Turn the gain up.
Okay.
For me. Let's see. We got a bunch of people complaining about audio again, so let's see if we can help them out here, guys. We're trying. I don't know if you know this, but we're not audio professionals, and we've had people try to help us out. We've had people come in, they fixed it, and then it didn't get fixed, and it's back and forth. But we're trying, okay? We're certainly trying. And I know the sound quality is good, but the audio volume is not. So hopefully whatever my man Jay Will just did over there, hopefully that bumps it up just a little bit. But, yeah, what other Ask Brookses do we have?
I've got one. Does the film say, or who is it, who's the kind of Brock Bowers this year, where if you're in a pinch and you need the offensive guy to go to, who is that guy right now?
Ooh, Trevor Etienne?
That's what I was thinking.
Looks like it to me. That's what it looked like to me.
And that's the first time you've had that in –
be a running back?
Yeah,
since Nick and Sony?
DeAndre Swift.
No. It was Nick and Sony. Was DeAndre the primary target or the primary option in that offense? Was he the focal point, you think, in 2019?
Absolutely.
I'd say after 2017 he was.
Yeah.
He had a really good freshman season, and he was a primary guy, I would say, in the offense. Yeah, kind of going back, though, to the London Humphreys conversation, do you think he is a guy that could play X, though, and you could, just kind of almost play positionless wide receiver groups? Because I think Georgia kind of did this a little bit. They would put Ladd – now I know Ladd was a special player. He could do a lot of things that players on your roster right now probably can't do, but they would put Ladd over there by himself and just kind of figuring out, what maybe you can expect of where he might be placed or, what exactly – what is open to him.
I mean, he's 6'3".
Mm-hmm.
He's a lot taller than most people
Yeah.
realize. But the problem when you play X in a pro-style offense like this, and really X in general in this conference, when you're over there on one side of the field by yourself, you're going to get bump and run, meaning people are going to walk down in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the question is, can London Humphreys defy man coverage right now? Can he get off of press man coverage? And really, that's the question about the roster.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the question about the roster.
But has Georgia ever had that? George Pickens probably could have been this, but
Yeah.
when he was healthy or
And
when he was playing. But
I-
other than that, like through this national championship run, I don't think Georgia's really had the beat, bump, and run guy.
Mm-mm.
Now you've had Brock Bowers and Lad
Yeah, they've
McConkey
never really had
to supplement it, but
Ladd beat the shit out of bump and run. Teams wouldn't even try.
yeah,
Towards the end of his career, they would back off.
Well, yeah.
And that's
They're
why he
really
kept,
far back.
That's why he kept double moving everybody,
mm-hmm.
because they were backed off so far. So
So I mean, you don't necessarily need the man beater, and we talked about it yesterday. You don't also need the X archetype where you got to have a Julio Jones on your offense or it's not going to succeed. So my question is, who do you think is going to get more burn here with the indefinite suspension of Colby Young? Is it Anthony Evans or London Humphreys?
London. I want to know what Anthony Evans does during practice. That's what I want to know. And you would think Brooks, the insider, would know. Maybe it's something I dig into because the film on tape is obvious. Like in game, he could have had 140 yards against Bama. I mean, there were 2 plays where there's 70 yards on tape if Beck just picks his eyes up. If he's just like, oh, look at that. And I know some of that's busted coverages, some of that's woulda, coulda, shoulda, and I do that a lot, but that's the reality of football. You know, at this high level, when you got this many good football players, that's the reality. And I've had conversations with that building about why can't you get Anthony Evans time? And the answer is Dominic Lovett's really good.
Yeah.
Arian Smith's really good. We like London Humphreys. Like, it's hard. There's a lot of players here. So, yeah, I think – and the chat's hitting on some stuff. Anthony Evans, maybe they don't trust him to block, things like that. Like, I don't know. I think some of that stuff can be a little bit overblown.
Yeah.
But he's not the world's best blocker out there for sure.
Yeah, and I think it is important to, and I understand why he get. I mean, heck, I've been one of the loudest voices saying that I want to see Anthony Evans on the field more. I want to see him get the ball more. But I think it's
he's
easy.
on my fantasy team.
I think it's also easy to forget that this is a year 2 player. This is a guy that bursted onto the scene late last year. He made a big play in the SEC championship game as a punt returner, and then he made some big plays in the Orange Bowl when they were playing everybody. So I think it's kind of easy to forget like a player's track record just because like a few moments might overshadow some things. It's like, oh, well, he needs to be on the field. He's going to play a lot. Well, there's still some other things like London Humphreys played all of last year. He's a year 2 player as well, but he played all of last year at Vanderbilt. This is a guy that has a lot more SEC experience than Anthony Evans does. But I think you're seeing more of Anthony Evans. I think you saw more of him against Auburn. But just because he's not getting the ball doesn't mean they're not getting him more burn.
You want another question?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, I just didn't know if you're looking for my input on that or – this is probably – I could be totally wrong here, and I don't grind tape like you do. I haven't –
No one does.
It's fair. But from what I've seen watching Georgia, do you think they've kind of decreased the variations of their blitzes this year? For me, my takeaway is their main go-to blitz is a double-A blitz, and they'll sometimes switch it where your Mike goes in the opposite A and your Will goes in the opposite A. But
That's
other
a
than
run blitz when you do that.
right. But other than that, I haven't seen a ton of creative style blitzes necessarily like you were seeing in 21 and 22.
So you got to understand that the simulated pressure king is won by the name of Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning loved simulated pressures too much, almost too much. It would almost get you in trouble. Where you like walked up the whole game and you're like, coach, can we just play some base defense?
Yep.
You know? So I think that might be a little bit of why you don't see as much of it. Also, you're not as veteran and as experienced at the inside linebacker position as you have been in years past.
It's true. C.J. Allen's on like start number 9. I think.
Correct. All right. And Smile's now banged up, and Jalen's still learning and progressing at the position, and Raylan's a year 2 player. So, like, the idea that I'm going to walk them up on the line of scrimmage while also making sure they're responsible for their coverage responsibilities, that's a tough ask from a young football player. The other thing you got to know is that This football team is never going to blitz a bunch. They're going to pressure. They're going to send 5. But I can't tell you the last time I saw a cover 0 blitz from Georgia. A true, we're sending the house, everybody's cover 0.
They did it once against Alabama.
Okay.
They sent both Mike and Will
All right.
on your 4-down linemen.
And
Actually, they might have dropped Markel.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think they rushed 5 and dropped 1.
So then, yeah, I don't know.
So
It's just an observation from afar. Like, I'm not seeing as much, like you said, walking up to the line, safeties coming off the edge, type things like that you saw in previous seasons. It's more of a confirm this or prove this wrong for me.
Yeah, I don't think it's they're not blitzing as much or they're not pressuring as much. I think what you're noticing, especially if you remember, I think there's a propensity for fans to take a mental screen cap of what they did in 2021 and just remember Georgia defense for that. Because it's the greatest version of it, right?
Yep.
And you have to understand that the departure of talent's not the biggest change in that. The loss of or the change of defensive coordinator is.
Okay.
All right. They're just not going to do as much sim pressure as they used to.
Okay. That makes perfect sense.
Last question I have, and I only ask this because I feel like there's at least one of these players every single year. Once we get to this point in the season, really once you get past that second bye week, or the only bye week typically, but in this case, the second bye week right after Florida, is there a freshman that you could see on either side of the football start having a role on this offense or defense?
It would have been, well, the wide receiver room's tough to get young guys in, but it would have been Zacoby White for me, but he's been battling a knee injury. So I don't necessarily know him. Joseph Jonah got in early. Chris Cole got in early this past weekend.
Yeah,
so probably Chris right now with the injury to Smile.
I think we've kind of overlooked someone that in the start of the season we were really
Are you
hammering.
going to Ellis Robinson me?
No. KJ Bolden.
Well, yeah.
Well, he is playing.
he's
KJ
just
Bolden's
an
a
assumed
rotation
starter at this point.
He's an
though.
assumed star, but I don't think he's had, the impact that we thought or he expect him to necessarily. I think KJ Bolden can make a couple of plays in the coming weeks.
The most impressive thing about KJ to me is that I haven't felt like he's in a bad spot yet. Now, I could be wrong. I don't stare at him the whole time, but I don't feel like I'm like, damn, KJ, you got cooked there, or whoa, what's happening there? And people are going to say the Ryan Williams thing. Dude, he was on the hash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's on the hash. That ball's thrown outside the numbers on the sideline. Like, that's really, really hard to get to. It's a lot of space to cover while maintaining your middle of the field responsibilities.
Also, when you're tracking that far for a guy who's that fast, you're probably going to run an over angle a little bit.
Yeah, I was more so speaking of the guys.
The tackling's got to improve.
The
I'll say
guys
that, but all
of
freshmen do.
You don't really see much of them in the beginning, but then all of a sudden at that back half of the season, it's whoa, that freshman's going to be good.
I want to give some credit. I want to give some real credit. We got folks that are not Georgia fans 53 minutes into the local hour trolling Georgia fans in the chat. That's good effort, man. That's a high intensity. That's lunch pail behavior right there. You
Do
might
not
be a coach's
kick
kid.
them.
That's lunch pail
Don't kick
behavior
them,
right
please.
there. Any more questions?
That was my last one.
Do we have nostalgic tape
We
today?
do have a nostalgia tape.
Yeah.
What's that? Y'all think you got me?
Yeah. 100%. In fact, I wouldn't even put odds on this for you to guess it right.
Well, I know this is Gwinnett County.
Okay.
So that's because that's Brookwood High School. So let's see here. Who we got? Oh, he's a center? Is that Lamont Gaillard?
It is not.
Okay. Did he play center in college?
He did.
Oh, this dude's from Collins Hill? Who in the hell did they get out of Collins Hill? He played center. It's not Trey Hill. He played at Houston County.
Correct.
It's not Lamont Gaillard. He played center in college?
He did.
For
He
like,
eventually moved to guard.
okay. Oh, dude, I'm in trouble. Did he work?
A player that is no longer on Georgia's roster.
Is this
He transferred out.
Is this my man? It's not Trey Hill. It's not Lamont Gaillard. He transferred out. It's Notori Johnson.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
damn.
Trying to hit the walk off.
He transferred out.
I don't care how many times you guess wrong. If you get this right, I'll be very impressed.
Oh, no, this is Cameron Kinney.
There
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. Are you impressed?
I was impressed.
He's at UCF now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly where he's at.
Yeah.
But when he sent this to me, I was like, bro, this is a deep pool right here.
He never played a down.
No.
Nope.
He didn't even finish his career at Collins Hill. He finished at South Gwinnett, didn't he?
I have no idea.
No clue.
That's
I don't know.
dirty.
This is called Last Ride, and this is at Collins Hill.
That's dirty what you just did. That's 0 for 4 with a 1 for 5 at the end.
Yeah.
Is that no 0 for 3 with a 1 for 4?
0 for 4 with a walk-off that didn't go in.
Oh, I did guess Notori, didn't I?
Yeah.
Damn. I should have known that, though. Notori's DeKalb County. I shouldn't have been out here guessing Gwinnett County kids for
It's pretty good tape,
Notori.
honestly.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. The only problem for Cameron, and the reason I know Cameron is because Cameron trained with my boy Kevin, Coach Kev. Cameron is about 6 foot nothing, maybe.
Yeah, I had a couple
6
of
foot
classes
1.
with him. He wasn't super tall.
No, not a big dude. Walked on at Georgia too. I didn't know he was on the commitments list, but that was one of those. Green shirt, gray shirt. We're gonna let everybody know that you committed. We're gonna tweet it, "Go Dogs," but like we ain't got no money for you. So.
Nice dude.
Yeah, good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I had a couple classes with him.
That's cool. That's cool. You should be impressed though. You should be impressed.
Yeah, I figured you would get it eventually after enough guesses. I mean, the center position's kind of a rarity in the sport of high school, and especially when it comes to guys that end up playing at Georgia. There's only 1 or 2 of them that come into class each year. You know, you can get guards, you can get tackles that transition to guards, etc. But if you're playing center, you're probably there to play center at Georgia. So that was kind of what I figured would give it away for you.
Mm-hmm. What color is Brooks' shirt? I would just like a
Salmon.
salmon? A salmon?
Don't say that.
You pronounce
Don't
it,
ever say salmon.
you pronounce it salmon?
Nah, it's salmon. I haven't, it's been 2 days on this network that I haven't said anything, and I think I do. Prayers to anybody who's in the path of this storm, Milton, and then obviously the one that came before that and one after that, man. At this point, I guess just get out of the state of Florida.
Yeah. That's a
I basically has told myself that my dream of maybe having a retirement home in Florida, I don't know that I have that dream anymore.
Yeah. I'm retiring on a lake house.
yes.
Nah,
Give me a
beach
lake
house.
house. I'll
Give me
take
a
a
lake
lake
house.
house over a beach house.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice lake house. You go fishing every day.
I want to fish and golf every day when I'm retired. I either want to fish that day or I want to golf that day.
Get a nice old car. Work on it. Do a resto mod.
See, now miss me with that.
72 Z28.
Give me a fishing
throw an
rod,
LT crate in it.
a 21-foot bass boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got me there.
21-foot
in.
bass boat.
I'm in.
Big front deck on that thing.
Yep.
And a nice set of PXG irons.
Yeah, you lost me.
And I'm gonna be hell. My wife at that point, my wife's just like, I don't want to see you. I've seen you enough. We've been married 40, 50 years. Just get up out of here.
Yeah, I feel like there definitely does get to a point in marriage. It's like, oh, you're gonna spend 6 hours away from me?
Cool.
All right, sick.
Bet.
I'll be here.
Say less. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you for being here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I love you. If you're not subscribed, go ahead. We'll see you tomorrow.